Chapter 941 Lin Fierce Waiting. Boom! When the myriad blood lantern, where the superior Earth Divine Venerable Level Challenger resided finally stopped. The Challenger's expression brightened. The exit has arrived? In the next moment, the superior Earth Divine Venerable Level Challenger felt a massive repelling force within the myriad blood lantern, directly ejecting him out. As he was expelled, he shouted internally, "I made it! I'm the first. I must be the first to arrive." His gaze swiftly fixed ahead. Then he directly saw a massive spatial exit ahead. That must be the exit to leave Heavenly God Mountain. The Challenger also noticed, next to the exit, there were 5 divine pools radiating with shimmering divine light, none other than the divine transformation pools, capable of bringing a breakthrough in one's realm. However, the moment his eyes fell upon the 5 divine transformation pools, his delighted smile instantly froze.
Yi-chan.
Senior brother Yi-chan. What caused his smile to freeze was the fact that, contrary to his belief that he was the first to arrive, he saw a figure he knew all too well in one of the divine transformation pools. Yi-chan, sitting cross-legged and cultivating with his eyes closed. Senior brother Yi-chan got here faster than me. The superior Earth Divine Venerable Level Challenger found it utterly unbelievable. Could it be that senior brother Yi-chan, like me, also encountered incredibly weak slaughtering entities? The thought quickly made him want to approach Yi-chan and ask what level of entities Yi-chan had faced. But in the next moment, the challenger dismissed the idea altogether. Because, right outside Yi-chan's divine transformation pool, a radiant screen suddenly displayed Yi-chen's results within the myriad blood lantern. Yi-chan, in the myriad blood lantern, slaughtered 5 waves of entities, totaling 89 middle heavenly god-level entities, 56 superior heavenly god-level entities, 28 lower immortal divine venerable level entities, 16 middle immortal divine venerable level entities, and 3 superior immortal divine venerable level entities. Superior immortal divine venerable level entities. 3. Upon seeing Yi-chen's results, the challenger stood completely stunned. It took dozens of breaths before he finally recovered from his shock. This time, he dared not disturb Yi-chan at all, without even a flicker of an idea to inquire about his experience. What a joke! Someone who could even slaughter superior immortal divine venerable level entities. How could he dare to interrupt such a senior brother Yi-chan? Even the earlier thought of comparing himself to Yi-chan now seemed utterly laughable in his own mind. At last, after letting out a deep sigh, the challenger followed the divine light's guidance, located the second-ranked divine transformation pool among the 5, and entered it, beginning his own state of cultivation, just like Yi-chan. Not long after, a third challenger successfully arrived. When this third challenger saw that Yi-chan and the superior Earth Divine Venerable had already arrived ahead of him, he, too, was taken by surprise. And upon seeing the slaughter scores displayed outside Yi-chan's and the superior Earth Divine Venerable's divine transformation pools, the results of the superior Earth Divine Venerable instantly made this third challenger envious of his good fortune. As for Yi-chan's results, they sent this third challenger into prolonged shock once more. The 4th, the 5th, the 6th, more challengers continued arriving at the exit. Each of these later arrivals, upon seeing the combat accomplishments of those who preceded them to the exit, voiced either astonishment or sighs of resignation. The top 5 challengers who made it through also entered the respective divine transformation pools, beginning their cultivation. The 6th challenger to arrive, upon discovering all 5 pools were already occupied, was left utterly frustrated at having fallen short. However, in the end, he accepted the outcome. Although he failed to make it into the top 5, he still placed in the top 30, and this time he could safely leave Heavenly God Mountain with substantial gains. Moreover, even though he couldn't enter the wondrous divine transformation pool, merely being among the top 30 gave him the opportunity to increase his realm by 1 level. Upon being the 6th arrival, a divine light descended upon him. In momentary brilliance, this challenger directly broke through from the Middle Earth Divine Venerable Realm to the Superior Earth Divine Venerable Realm. Now, He only awaited the final opening of the exit to leave with a 3-tier realm jump and a bounty of treasures from Heavenly God Mountain, inside the first-ranked divine transformation pool where Yi-chun resided. At that moment, Yi-chun remained completely unaware of how fast or how many others were reaching the exit after him. He didn't even notice the superior Earth Divine Venerable who had been the second to arrive after him. Because, upon entering the divine transformation pool, Yi-chun immediately sensed the isolating energy within the pool engulfing him, shielding him inside and blocking his divine sense from the outside world. Yi-chun had no way of perceiving what was happening beyond the pool. All he could feel was the torrential life origin power and boundless divine power surging into his body. Under such circumstances, Yi-chun had no time to think of anything else. He knew he had only 1 month to absorb the benefits of the first divine transformation pool. He had to seize every moment to draw on the energy within. Within Heavenly God Mountain, the final sprint was well underway, as the countdown to departure loomed. At this time, the sovereigns who had led the 5 divine kingdoms 5-3-0-0-0-0 challengers to Heavenly God Mountain were growing visibly anxious. I wonder how those youngsters have fared in their trials? Although most of them will perish, those who survive will surely reap astonishing rewards. A sovereign from the Lansong Divine Kingdom voiced his thoughts aloud. A sovereign from the Chinjue Divine Kingdom, eyes gleaming, added, I don't care about the fate of the others, but in our kingdom, Hua Shuelian is the one I have the highest hopes for. He's already exceptionally powerful, and if he breaks through to either the high-tier Earth Divine Venerable or the Heavenly Divine Venerable level here, it'll be a monumental gain for the Chinjue Divine Kingdom. After all, in the outside world, it'd take hundreds, thousands, or even tens of thousands of years to reach the Heavenly Divine Venerable realm in cultivation. Whereas here in Heavenly God Mountain, as long as one has luck, it could be accomplished in an instant. The words of the Chenjue sovereign drew nods of agreement from 2 other sovereigns of the same divine kingdom. Meanwhile, the 3 sovereigns accompanying the Snow Desert Divine Kingdom maintained calm composure, replying, There's no need for concern. Whether Hua Shuelian, Lin Shan, or our own Sima Liao, all possess immense strength and are unlikely to face significant issues. We simply need to wait for their exit. We're particularly curious to see how much progress Sima Liao will achieve. If his advancements are substantial, we'll prioritize cultivating him further. After all, the Stellar Domain Genius Battle, in a few years awaits, and we're counting on him to represent the Snow Desert Divine Kingdom then. Among the 5 divine kingdoms, the Snow Desert, Chenjue, and Black Dragon Mountain Divine Kingdoms stood out as the strongest trio. Their confidence was palpable, leaving the sovereigns of the weaker Lansong Divine Kingdom heaping praises on them. The disciples of the Snow Desert Kingdom are undoubtedly exceptional. These flattery remarks brought smiles to the faces of the 3 Snow Desert sovereigns. In contrast, within the Wanmu Mountain Divine Kingdom, the sovereigns Tianmei and Jialan wore solemn expressions. Unlike the other sovereigns who harbored high hopes for their disciples but didn't dwell overly on their survival, these 2 were deeply concerned. After all, among this group of challengers, there was one individual they deeply cared about, Yi-chun. Sovereign Tianmei had been entrusted by the Northern Territory King to look after Yi-chun, while Sovereign Jialan had been tasked by Sovereign Xuechen. Both held nothing but earnest hopes for Yi-chun's safety. Although they knew Yi-chun was extraordinarily powerful, neither Tianmei nor Jialan could rest easy until the very moment all survivors returned from Heavenly God Mountain. Of course, those who closely monitored the trials within Heavenly God Mountain weren't limited to the sovereigns waiting outside. Far away, within their respective divine kingdoms, others also eagerly awaited the conclusion of this expedition. In the Ice Emperor realm within the 10,000 Beast Star Domain, inside the Zixuan Treasure Palace where Jiang Yao and Long Li resided, Jiang Yao, usually immersed in painstaking cultivation, now found herself unable to focus entirely on her training. Long Li said Yi-chun must fulfill 3 tasks set by the 2 sovereigns. This is his time to complete the second task. Charging through Heavenly God Mountain. Yi-chun, you'll surely succeed. This Zixuan Treasure Palace only allows cultivation and prohibits leaving without completing training tasks. Otherwise, I'd have found a way to see you. Yi-chun, in a few more years, I'll surely leave this place. Atop one of the countless steps within the Zishuan treasure palace, Zhang Yao meditated deeply. Down below, the young girl Long Li also seemed lost in thought. A certain figure that lingered in her mind refused to fade away. Yi-chun, I believe in you. Heavenly God Mountain won't pose a challenge you can't overcome. Long Li, lost in her thoughts for a long while, finally clenched her tiny fists tightly. In the Black Dragon Mountain Divine Kingdom, a neighboring realm to the Wanmu Mountain Divine Kingdom, located in its northern region was Frost God City, an ordinary divine city. There resided the Lin family, a humble clan whose strongest member had only reached the Middle-earth Divine Venerable Realm. Yet despite its modest stature, the Lin family of Frost God City was widely respected throughout the city. For one thing, a prodigious talent named Lin Shan had emerged from the Lin family, gaining admission to the famed Black Dragon Divine Palace as one of its disciples. For someone to rise from an ordinary divine city like Frost God City and ascend to the ranks of a Black Dragon Divine Palace disciple was an exceedingly rare accomplishment in the city's history. This alone earned the Lin family widespread admiration among countless martial artists in Frost God City. Furthermore, the Lin family's renown was also tied to another reason. A peerless young beauty in the family, Lin Shan's equally talented sister, Lin Fair, who once stirred awe throughout Frost God City with her unparalleled aptitude on par with Lin Shan's. Tragically, Lin Fair had fallen gravely ill several years ago, halting her cultivation and even regressing in her realm. Though Lin Fair had once been destined to follow in Lin Shan's footsteps and enter the prestigious Black Dragon Divine Palace, that dream now seemed entirely out of reach. In the Lin family's residence within Frost God City, inside a private chamber, a pale but stunning 16-year-old girl lay on a bed. Beside her were her father and mother, their faces filled with concern. Fair, how are you feeling? You must hold on. Your brother will return soon, and he'll surely bring back the pills to cure your cold poison. The elderly couple's eyes glimmered with anxious care as they watched their frail daughter. But the girl only shook her head weakly. Father, mother, I only wish for brother to return safely. As for my illness, I know there's probably no cure. Chapter 942-. The Transformation of Starlight Tower. Silly girl, don't let your thoughts run wild. Hearing the young woman's despairing words, the two elders looked even more panicked. Your brother is a disciple of the Divine Palace. He said he can save you, so he will definitely save you. The young woman saw the worried expressions on her parents' faces and gave a bitter smile as she shook her head. Even so, she refrained from saying anything further that might add to their concern. However, in her heart, the young woman murmured to herself, I used to believe my brother could cure me, but over these past few days, that ice crystal leaf seems increasingly to be devouring my life force. My brother said he would find pills to suppress the cold poison, but I fear they won't be able to deal with this ice crystal leaf. As the young woman spoke, if one were to peer deep into her chi sea, they would see a leaf of icy, snow-white color radiating a dazzlingly cold aura, floating within. At this moment, the young woman's chi sea had withered significantly, but the snow-colored leaf appeared more vibrant and brimming with vitality. The Lin family was shrouded in gloom due to the young woman's illness. Meanwhile, in another household in Frost God City, specifically the foremost family in Frost God City, the Zhua family, a heavenly divine venerable youth was staring intently in the direction of the Lin family. Beside him stood an immortal divine venerable in a gray robe. The youth withdrew his gaze toward the Lin family and turned to the gray-robed elder, saying, Master Xian, in a few days' time, I will need to trouble you to make an attempt to cure Lin Fair. Upon hearing the youth's words, the gray-robed elder nodded and chuckled. Zuyen, you seem very concerned about that little Lin family girl. You even made the effort to return to Frost God City all the way from the Black Profound Cultivation Holy Land. I've heard her beauty is unparalleled. Don't tell me you've taken a liking to her? And besides, it's been said that Lin Fair's genius brother, Lin Shan, has traveled to Heavenly God Mountain. He'll likely find the medicinal treasure to cure her illness, so you might not even need me to intervene." The gray-robed elder's words caused a sharp glint to flash in the youth's eyes. He shook his head. Heavenly God Mountain may be extraordinary, but the likelihood of Lin Shan finding a remedy for Lin Feier's condition is slim. If there's even the slightest chance she doesn't recover, Master Xian, I will still need your assistance. As the youth spoke, his gaze fell on an ice crystal fruit stored within one of his spatial treasures. In his heart, the youth sneered coldly. Master Xian thinks I fancy Lin Feier, but he doesn't realize that my effort to treat her serves a far greater purpose. As long as I can gain Lin Feier's trust, everything will fall within my grasp. While his cold sneer lingered, a subtle flicker of greed and fiery ambition flashed deep within the youth's eyes, almost imperceptible to anyone who might look. Heavenly God Mountain, 4th layer. The final day to leave Heavenly God Mountain was drawing closer. Sitting within the divine transformation pool, Yi Chun had yet to emerge. It had now been 27 days since Yi Chun entered the divine transformation pool. During these 27 days of cultivation, the 4 others in nearby divine transformation pools had each achieved significant progress. Some had advanced 2 realms, while others had broken through 3 realms, even reaching the superior heavenly divine venerable realm. Clearly, being able to cultivate within such a miraculous location capable of aiding realm breakthroughs was already a tremendous blessing for all 4. However, if anyone were to observe Yi Chun, they would be astounded. At this moment, Yi Chun had only progressed from the Middle God King realm to the Upper God King realm, a single realm breakthrough. One must understand that Yi Chun had entered the most precious of the 5 divine transformation pools. Furthermore, Yi Chun was undeniably the most gifted individual among the 5. Yet, his realm breakthrough was inferior to that of the others, a detail that would shock anyone to their core. Looking toward Yi Chun, however, one would see that, despite his seemingly meager breakthrough, Yi Chun was brimming with joy and excitement instead of disappointment. Upper God King. This time in Heavenly God Mountain, successfully rising to Upper God King realm is an unexpected delight. However, I didn't expect that this divine transformation pool would offer me an even greater reward. At this moment, inside Yi Chun's body, which no one could detect, not even the divine master lords overseeing Heavenly God Mountain, the Stars Tower had begun showing faint signs of change throughout Yi Chun's 27 days of cultivation. In the past, Yi Chun could only enter the Stars Tower while practicing the primordial star scripture. Even then, he could only comprehend the techniques within the primordial star scripture and had no interactions with the Stars Tower itself. Yet during these days of cultivation within the divine transformation pool, Yi Chun felt as if he was gradually sensing an inherent divine power within the Stars Tower. Now, Yi Chun could even utilize the first ability of the Stars Tower, its spatial storage power, where he could directly store his treasures within the first 5 layers he had previously accessed. This unexpected transformation completely astonished Yi Chun. Indeed, Yi Chun was certain the Stars Tower was no ordinary artifact. It likely exceeded the divine venerable grade of mysterious heavenly divine artifacts, reaching sovereign grade ultimate heavenly artifacts, undoubtedly a high-level existence even within the cosmic sea. Under such circumstances, to activate even a fraction of the unique powers of such an artifact was beyond what Yi Chun had imagined. Life origin. It must be the enhancement of my life origin that has altered my control over the Stars Tower. Yi Chun's gaze shifted toward the divine transformation pool he was in. He could see that the divine liquid within the pool had paled significantly. Over 90% of the divine liquid had been absorbed by Yi Chun. 90%. An utterly staggering figure. One must understand that the 4 challengers in the other divine transformation pools had only absorbed less than 1,000th of the divine liquid, yet they achieved significant realm breakthroughs. Yet Yi Chun had absorbed over 90% of the divine liquid. The divine liquid I absorbed, only a minuscule portion contributed to my realm breakthrough. The vast majority of the divine liquid's power was instead converted into things that enhanced my life origin. So much divine liquid power, yet all it achieved was allowing me to activate the Stars Tower's most basic spatial storage capability. Does this mean that to master more of the Stars Tower's powers, I need to continue seeking ways to enhance my life origin? As this thought struck, Yi Chen's eyes gleamed with determination. If he could indeed discover the means to manipulate the Stars Tower, if he could master just one or two devastating divine powers within it, for Yi Chen this possibility was absolutely earth-shattering. After all, the primordial star scripture alone had already allowed Yi Chen to witness the unparalleled skills wielded by Star Lord-level figures. If he could also harness divine powers comparable to those of the primordial star scripture residing within the Stars Tower itself, this would undoubtedly elevate Yi Chen's combat abilities in unimaginable ways. Chapter 943-. Finally leaving Heavenly God Mountain. After a moment of contemplation, Yi Chen calmed his mind and resumed absorbing the divine liquid power from the divine transformation pool. In the blink of an eye, the final 3 days passed quietly. The month-long exploration of the 4th layer of Heavenly God Mountain came to an official end. The entire 1-year journey through Heavenly God Mountain also concluded completely. As the final moment arrived, the 5 individuals still inside the divine transformation pool, including Yi Chen, were abruptly propelled out by a tremendous force, ascending from within the pool. The 5 figures in flight immediately caught the attention of over 100 challengers already gathered at the exit. When the onlookers realized that among the 5 who had entered the divine transformation pool, 2 had ascended to become superior heavenly divine venerables, 1 had progressed to the middle heavenly divine venerable level, and another had attained the lower heavenly divine venerable rank, producing a total of 4 individuals at the heavenly divine venerable level. The crowd was overwhelmed with extreme envy and awe toward these 4 cultivators. All the while, the crowd's attention keenly focused on Yi Chen. Though Yi Chen's realm at that moment fell short compared to the other 4 who had emerged from the divine transformation pool, merely at the upper God King level, it was an aura seemingly transcendent, as if surpassing the presence of everyone else in the scene. Although this extraordinary aura quickly withdrew into Yi Chen's body after his exit from the divine transformation pool, the brief glimpse left no doubt in everyone's minds. Despite Yi Chen not experiencing a significant breakthrough in realm, his true harvest was likely greater than anyone could imagine. Senior Brother Yi Chen. Senior Brother Yi Chen. The 4 heavenly divine venerables standing beside Yi Chen were equally astonished as they turned their gazes toward him. These 4 individuals had entered Heavenly God Mountain alongside Yi Chen, and even though they had now ascended to the heavenly divine venerable level, they still addressed Yi Chen with utmost respect as Senior Brother, not daring to show the slightest sense of superiority. Because all 4 of them had noticed something unusual about Yi Chen's divine transformation pool. After the 4 of them emerged, the respective pools they had drawn power from still shimmered with divine light, indicating that the minor fraction, barely 1,000th, of divine energy they had absorbed had hardly affected their pools. However, they saw that Yi Chen's divine transformation pool had nearly been depleted of its divine liquid and power. An astonishing 99% had vanished. This meant that Yi Chen had absorbed 99% of the divine liquid and power from his pool. Moreover, Yi Chen's pool was ranked first, more precious than the pools they had accessed. Under such circumstances, for Yi Chen to deplete 99% of that supreme pool's divine liquid and power, this was simply jaw-dropping for the 4 onlookers. They had only absorbed a fraction of the weaker divine liquid and power, yet their realms had advanced this dramatically. They couldn't fathom what Yi Chen had done with the immense amount of power he had absorbed, given that his realm had only advanced 1 step. What had the rest of that boundless energy been transformed into? Could it be that the transcendent aura that just flashed from Senior Brother Yi Chen's body is the result of the additional divine power absorbed from the divine transformation pool? This transcendent aura. I've never sensed anything like it, not even from sovereigns. It feels like the essence of life itself, or perhaps a higher-tier existence beyond this universe. The 4 speculated silently in their hearts. Amidst murmurs of discussion, Yi Chen nodded slightly toward the 4 individuals beside him and then looked toward the others at the exit. In the crowd, Yi Chen saw Hua Xuelian and the ancient emperor of the Yen clan. Taoist Hua Xuelian, senior ancient emperor, Did you make it into the top 30? Yichun asked them aloud. Though there were over 100 people gathered near the exit, only the top 30 were granted the right to leave Heavenly God Mountain, and Yichun was genuinely concerned about their chances of leaving. However, their smiles in response eased Yichun's worries. Hua Shuelian laughed and said, "Brother Yichun, I was the 7th to arrive at the exit. Though it's a pity I didn't enter the divine transformation pool, I did earn the qualification to leave Heavenly God Mountain." The ancient emperor of the Yen clan also exhaled deeply and said, "Yichun, I was incredibly fortunate this time. I made it as the 29th to reach the exit. If I had faced a more formidable killing entity inside the myriad blood lantern, I might never have escaped Heavenly God Mountain." Both Hua Shuelian and the ancient emperor of the Yen clan had successfully secured their qualifications to leave Heavenly God Mountain. Along with Yichun, 28 others could also depart. However, the remaining 80 or so individuals on the field weren't as fortunate and were overcome with despair. Though they had survived the trial of the myriad blood lantern and avoided death within it, they remained unable to claim one of the 30 spots needed to exit, ultimately becoming the final losers. They attempted to rush toward the exit multiple times, but the formidable power guarding the portal rebuffed them instantly, sending them hurtling back into the confines of Heavenly God Mountain. These challengers understood with sorrow that they would never leave Heavenly God Mountain again and would soon turn into desiccated bones, perishing within its depths. Observing their dejected, hopeless expressions, Yichun let out a long sigh. Heavenly God Mountain, a land of great fortune. The 30 people who succeeded in escaping undoubtedly reaped incredible rewards, whether through realm advancements or acquiring treasures, progress within a single year that would be unimaginable in the outside world. At the same time, Heavenly God Mountain was a land of immense slaughter. Yichun reflected on how, at the journey's beginning, a staggering 530,000 had entered. Yet so many perished facing the bloodlight killers on the first layer, countless more fell in the sea of mist on the second, while even powerhouses like Lin Shan and Mu Qingxue were trapped in the purple or mystery realm. The trials of the life and death cavern world, on the 3rd level, and the myriad blood lantern test of the 4th likewise eliminated innumerable challengers. This is the brutality of competition. Heavenly God Mountain offers immense fortune, but in the end, only a small fraction can seize it. The majority become mere cannon fodder. I pray the day never comes when I share their fate. Yichun mused introspectively. Though he had succeeded in this harrowing challenge, the crises surrounding the death fruit and 3 great undersea killing formations during his journey instilled in him a sharp sense of urgency. Yichun realized deeply that only by becoming even stronger could he prevent himself from becoming a name on the list of fallen challengers in the future. As these thoughts swirled through Yichun's mind, the exit of Heavenly God Mountain began to radiate divine light. This light, imbued with an indescribable sentience, enveloped Yichun and the other top 30 challengers before propelling them toward the exit. Yichun only managed one final glance at those left behind before he, alongside Hua Shuelian, the ancient emperor of the Yen clan, and others, was completely transported out of Heavenly God Mountain. They made it out. They've emerged. As soon as Yichun exited Heavenly God Mountain, he heard the exclamations from the sovereigns of the 5 great divine kingdoms waiting outside, followed by figures flying toward him swiftly. Yichun. Among the voices, he recognized those of Sovereign Jialan and Sovereign Tian Mei, their expressions brimming with excitement as they approached him. Yichun. It's such a relief to see you unharmed. Sovereign Jialan rushed to Yichun's side, examining him from head to toe. Meanwhile, Sovereign Tian Mei observed Yichun with a pleased smile and inwardly mused. He's become an upper god king? And the aura he radiates suggests a fundamental transformation in his very essence. Excellent. Realm advancement isn't paramount in Heavenly God Mountain. The elevation of one's methods and insights is far more crucial. Back when Lear entered Heavenly God Mountain, she only emerged as an upper god king. Yet her gains far surpassed those who rose to the heavenly divine rank. Seeing Yichun safe brought immense relief to the 2 sovereigns, who had been entrusted by the Northern Territory King and Sovereign Shuechen to oversee his well-being. They shifted their attention to the surviving challengers from Wanmu Mountain Divine Kingdom, engaging them in conversation. On the other side, among the challengers from the other 4 great divine kingdoms, voices filled with disbelief came forth. Sima Liao didn't make it out? The 3 sovereigns from the Snow Desert Divine Kingdom were utterly shocked. They had placed their highest hopes on Sima Liao and couldn't fathom how he, of all people, had failed to emerge from Heavenly God Mountain. The realization struck them like a hammer to the heart. They cared little about the loss of other god kings, but losing a prodigy like Sima Liao was absolutely unacceptable. Similarly, the 3 sovereigns of the Black Dragon Mountain Divine Kingdom exclaimed in alarm, "Lin Shan didn't make it out either? How could he possibly be trapped in Heavenly God Mountain? Could he have encountered some unprecedented crisis?" Of the once-renowned figures from the other 4 divine kingdoms, Lin Shan, Sima Liao, and Hua Shuilian, only Hua Shuilian had safely returned, a conclusion so jarring the sovereigns of the 4 great divine kingdoms struggled to process it. In past expeditions through Heavenly God Mountain, rarely had the most outstanding combatants fallen at such an alarming rate. The sovereigns quickly turned to the surviving god kings from their respective divine kingdoms, questioning them about the events transpiring within the mountain. Upon learning that Lin Shan and Sima Liao had vanished alongside Yi Chun, and that none of the others knew the details of their fates, the 3 sovereigns from the Snow Desert Divine Kingdom locked their gazes onto Yi Chun. One of their 9-star sovereigns could no longer contain his anger and demanded, "Yi Chun, explain everything about the situation that led to you, Sima Liao, and the others falling into danger. Leave nothing out." "Oh!" Hearing the commanding tone of the 3 sovereigns, Yi Chun raised his eyebrows slightly. Before Yi Chun could even respond, Sovereign Tian Mei and Sovereign Jialan stepped forward, shielding him and glancing sharply at the 3 sovereigns from the Snow Desert Divine Kingdom. "Are you attempting to interrogate him?" Sovereign Tian Mei then turned back to Yi Chun with a smile and said, "Yi Chen, you don't need to answer their questions if you don't wish to. I'd like to see how they intend to force you." Sovereign Tian Mei's words left the 3 sovereigns from the Snow Desert Divine Kingdom fuming. They hadn't expected her to guard Yi Chun so staunchly, to the point of disregarding their dignity as fellow sovereigns. And then, Yi Chen's next words made the 3 sovereigns of the Snow Desert Divine Kingdom utterly livid. Yi Chun said nonchalantly, "Sima Liao from the Snow Desert Divine Kingdom has long since died. As for how he died, if you have the ability, you can consult the entities within Heavenly God Mountain. I have no interest in discussing it further with you." On the other hand, Yi Chun turned to the 3 worried sovereigns from the Black Dragon Mountain Divine Kingdom and said sincerely, "Respected seniors, Lin Shan is trapped in a secret ground within Heavenly God Mountain but is not in mortal danger. He still has a chance to escape in the future." Having said this, Yi Chun ignored the 3 Snow Desert Divine Kingdom sovereigns, visibly enraged and pale-faced from his dismissiveness, and focused his mind toward the Ice Snow Jade pendant. If the 3 sovereigns from the Snow Desert Divine Kingdom had approached politely, Yi Chun might have shared some information with them. However, their arrogant and domineering attitudes left him utterly disinclined to engage with them further. Besides, Yi Chun was more eager to chat with Xiaojiu, whom he hadn't connected with in some time. Why should he waste time on the haughty sovereigns of the Snow Desert Divine Kingdom? They truly thought they could do as they pleased on Wanmu Mountain Divine Kingdom's territory? As Yi Chen's divine sense entered the Ice Snow Jade pendant, he immediately heard Xiaojiu's voice, "Yi Chun, I saw the entire process of your journey through Heavenly God Mountain. Yi Chun, you've obtained innumerable treasures this time, especially the 98 primordial gold divine flowers you collected from the medicinal garden on the first layer of Heavenly God Mountain. They will be immensely useful." Chapter 944-. The use of the primordial gold divine flower. Xiaojiu's words startled Yi Chun. Then, Yi Chun recalled the items he had discovered back when he explored the abandoned land within the medicinal garden on the first layer of the Heavenly God Mountain. At that time, Yi Chun broke through the miniature world of the death fruit and entered the abandoned land, left behind by a being who had surpassed the sovereign realm. Ultimately, he harvested dozens of materials required for cultivating the eternal God body from a medicinal garden. The materials for cultivating wind divine patterns had already been used by Yi Chun, successfully allowing him to complete the cultivation of the wind divine patterns of the eternal God body in the third layer of Heavenly God Mountain. Aside from cultivation materials, Yi Chun also discovered 98 golden flowers and 2 green-colored plants that could emit green and white threads. Yi Chun had never understood what these items were. At this moment, upon hearing Xiaozhou's words, Yi Chun immediately realized that Xiaozhou had recognized the origin of those 98 golden flowers. Primordial gold divine flowers? Those 98 golden flowers are called primordial gold divine flowers? Xiaozhou, what are they used for? Yi Chun asked Xiaozhou while glancing at the 98 golden flowers stored in the corner of the ice snow jade pendant. By now, Xiaozhou had already transformed into human form. She picked up one of the golden flowers from inside the ice snow jade pendant. Xiaozhou said to Yi Chun, "These primordial gold divine flowers are very special and extraordinary blooms that grow in the cosmic sea. Such flowers are the perfect items for nurturing spirit beasts and spirit insects. Many influential figures in the cosmic sea use these flowers for feeding their spirit beasts and spirit insects." Yi Chun, regarding the abandoned land you visited back then, the existence who left it behind must be incredibly powerful. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been able to cultivate primordial gold divine flowers on their own. Listening to Xiaozhou's explanation, Yi Chun's mind stirred. Feeding spirit beasts and spirit insects? He indeed possessed spirit beasts and spirit insects. His constant companions, Xiaozhou and the little monkey, weren't they spirit beasts? As for spirit insects, Yi Chun had once obtained a batch of mutated spirit insects, the scarlet Ming ants, within the 5 Elements Mountain. However, he had yet to find a way to accelerate their growth and rarely had a chance to use the scarlet Ming ants. At this moment, learning of the primordial gold divine flower's great value for spirit beasts and spirit insects gave Yi Chun an idea. Perhaps he could further cultivate the scarlet Ming ants and also assist Xiaozhou and the little monkey in raising their realms. With this thought, Yi Chun turned directly to Xiaozhou and asked, "Xiaozhou, since these primordial gold divine flowers are used by influential figures of the cosmic sea to nurture spirit beasts and spirit insects, can these 98 flowers be used for your growth, the little monkey's advancement, and the cultivation of the scarlet Ming ants I once collected?" Right now, Yi Chun couldn't help but worry that 98 primordial gold divine flowers might not be sufficient. Xiaozhou glanced at the golden monkey sleeping soundly on the ice snow jade pendant and laughed. "I, as a soul beast, am rather special. These primordial gold divine flowers are beneficial to me but not to a significant extent. However, for the little monkey, they can indeed be used for cultivation. The influential figures in the cosmic sea use primordial gold divine flowers to nurture spirit beasts at the divine master level. Right now, the little monkey is still too weak. One single flower is enough for it to cultivate for a long time. Perhaps after absorbing the energy of just one primordial gold divine flower, it could break through to the sovereign realm, though it would likely take a considerable amount of time. As for the scarlet Ming ants that you obtained back then, they can likewise be cultivated with primordial gold divine flowers. Using 5 or 6 flowers would be sufficient to develop a group of sovereign-level scarlet Ming ants. Yi Chun, you obtained 98 primordial gold divine flowers this time. More than enough for the little monkey and those scarlet Ming ants, with plenty left to spare. In the future, when they reach realms beyond the sovereign level, these flowers could still be of use." Hearing Xiaozhou's words, Yi Chun was overjoyed. He hadn't expected that the 98 primordial gold divine flowers he had unintentionally found in the abandoned land, left by a being beyond the sovereign realm, would have such tremendous value. But soon Yi Chun understood. The materials for cultivating the eternal God body that he had obtained within that medicinal garden had been growing along the fringes, while the primordial gold divine flowers were located at the center of the garden. Clearly, the primordial gold divine flowers were even more precious than the materials needed for the cultivation of the eternal God body. Finally, I can help the little monkey take another step forward. The little monkey was Yi Chen's earliest companion, having started following him back in the ancestral land of the barbaric wilderness continent. Over time, Yi Chen had been unable to help the little monkey locate Heavenly Saint Dekong or find the true spirit who had entrusted Dekong to care for the little monkey. The little monkey had stayed by Yi Chen's side and, although it had grown to the Heavenly Saint realm, it was still far behind Yi Chen, who had reached the upper God King level. Yi Chen had always felt that he owed the little monkey. Now, finding something that would be of great help to the little monkey's growth made Yi Chen incredibly happy. Yi Chen activated his mind and gently woke the golden little monkey, rousing it from its slumber. The little monkey, initially dazed from waking, rubbed its eyes with its tiny fingers. Upon seeing Yi Chen smiling at it, the little monkey grew excited. Yi Chen, you're back from Heavenly God Mountain. Yi Chen nodded with a smile and shared the discovery of the primordial gold divine flowers with the little monkey. Learning that the primordial gold divine flowers originated from the cosmic sea, the little monkey's youthful face showed utter astonishment. Although still young, the little monkey had spent time with Yi Chen and Xiaojiu and had come to understand that the cosmic sea was a higher dimensional existence. Now, such a rare treasure capable of nurturing spirit beasts lay before it, filling the little monkey with disbelief. Yi Chen, are you saying you want me to use this primordial gold divine flower for cultivation? Observing the little monkey's stunned expression, Yi Chen chuckled. With a flick of his finger, 10 primordial gold divine flowers floated toward the little monkey. Take these 10 primordial gold divine flowers and cultivate with them first. Xiaojiu said that absorbing the energy from just one flower might help you break into the sovereign realm. The rest can serve as a reserve. If you need more, I'll provide them. Having allocated 10 primordial gold divine flowers to the little monkey, Yi Chen then flicked another 10 toward Xiaojiu. Xiaojiu, though you mentioned that these primordial gold divine flowers aren't hugely useful for you, it's still better to use them if they help boost your cultivation minimally. Yi Chen was extraordinarily generous to his companions, Xiaojiu and the little monkey. At this moment, Yi Chen also remembered another matter. Xiaojiu, you said the primordial gold divine flowers weren't highly applicable for you. What about the purple silver pearl? Could you cultivate with it? The purple silver pearl was exceptionally effective for cultivating the divine soul. Yi Chen himself had harnessed the divine soul energy within the purple silver pearl for cultivation. As Xiaojiu was a soul beast, Yi Chen speculated that she might be even more suited for cultivating with the purple silver pearl. When he had first obtained the purple silver pearls, Yi Chen had considered Xiaojiu's cultivation needs and now brought the issue up. Xiaojiu hadn't expected Yi Chen to give her 10 primordial gold divine flowers. However, their long companionship had made them exceedingly close, so Xiaojiu accepted the flowers without reservation or polite refusal. Xiaojiu grinned and took the 10 primordial gold divine flowers happily. As she heard Yi Chen ask about the purple silver pearls, Xiaojiu nodded. The divine soul energy within the purple silver pearls is indeed beneficial for both me and the little monkey. That's great. Yi Chen, now rather wealthy, waved his hand generously, sending tens of millions of purple silver pearls toward Xiaojiu and the little monkey. Xiaojiu, you and the little monkey can use these purple silver pearls for cultivating the divine soul. Let me know when you run out, and I'll give you more. With tens of billions of purple silver pearls in his possession, Yi Chen was far wealthier than countless 9-star sovereigns and wasn't particularly concerned about the consumption. Seeing the vast pile of purple silver pearls flying her way, Xiaojiu protested. Yi Chen, neither the little monkey nor I need such a massive number of purple silver pearls. Even after centuries of cultivation, we may only use around hundreds of thousands. Yi Chen, however, didn't retrieve the pearls. He simply piled tens of millions of purple silver pearls beside Xiaojiu and the little monkey. Whether you use them all or not, keep them for now. Xiaojiu, knowing Yi Chen's abundance of purple silver pearls, grinned and said nothing further. To her, Yi Chen's resources were essentially her own, so there was no need to be overly meticulous. Having arranged cultivation items for Xiaojiu and the little monkey, Yi Chen placed a single petal of the primordial gold divine flower before the scarlet Ming ants. The mutated scarlet Ming ants, upon sensing the extraordinary nature of the petal, instantly flocked toward it, eagerly absorbing its energy. At this point, Yi Chun turned again to Xiaojiu and asked, "The uses of these 98 primordial gold divine flowers are now clear to me. Xiaojiu, do you know what those two green stalk-like plants capable of emitting green and white threads are?" Yi Chun retrieved the medicine box containing the two plants and showed it to Xiaojiu. These two plants grew in an even better position within the medicinal garden than the primordial gold divine flowers, which suggested they might be more precious. Yet this time, Xiaojiu shook her head. "Yi Chun, I don't know the uses of these two plants either. The knowledge imparted to me by Lord Emperor Yen doesn't include records of them. However, I feel that they might be the ultimate treasures of that medicinal garden. If they hadn't been immature back then, they would likely have been taken away by the being who created the garden. You should store them for now and investigate their origins in the future." Realizing Xiaojiu also couldn't identify these items, Yi Chun nodded and stored them back in the medicine box. Then, Yi Chun began discussing the purple-blue thunderflower and purple-blue thunderstone, items he had retrieved from the sevenfold waterfall in the third layer of the heavenly god mountain, which could be used to cultivate the star-blue divine garment. Yi Chun engaged Xiaojiu in conversation about his discoveries within heavenly god mountain. Meanwhile, the three sovereigns from the snow desert divine kingdom, chastised by sovereign Tian Mei's cold gaze, finally gave up their intention to confront Yi Chun. They knew sovereign Tian Mei's status and were equally aware that sovereign Tian Mei was backed by the Northern Territory King of Wanmu Mountain Divine Nation. Even as 9-star sovereigns, they dared not provoke the Northern Territory King lightly. Their divine kingdom's Sima Liao had failed to emerge from Heavenly God Mountain, and they saw little reason to risk angering the Northern Territory King for a dead man. In the end, the three sovereigns from the Snow Desert Divine Kingdom reluctantly assembled the 4 successful returnees from Heavenly God Mountain and prepared to return to their divine kingdom. At this moment, 3 sovereigns from the Black Dragon Mountain Divine Kingdom approached Yi Chun. Yi Chun had earlier mentioned that Lin Shan was still alive, merely trapped in a certain secret ground. This made the 3 sovereigns concerned about Lin Shan's predicament. Chapter 945- Despair and Hope, 1 incense stick of time later. The leading sovereigns of the 5 divine kingdoms, together with challengers who safely emerged from Heavenly God Mountain, departed from its domain and returned to their respective divine kingdoms. Yi Chun, the ancient emperor of the Yen clan, and 6 other challengers who safely emerged from the Wanmu Mountain Divine Kingdom were led by Sovereign Ziyang, Sovereign Tian Mei, and Sovereign Jialan, flying back to the Supreme Divine Institute. In the flying divine light of Sovereign Tian Mei, Yi Chun let out a long sigh. He recalled his earlier conversation with the 3 sovereigns of the Black Dragon Mountain Divine Kingdom. The 3 Black Dragon Mountain sovereigns wanted to know what had happened to Lin Shan inside Heavenly God Mountain. However, regarding the matter of the Purple or Mystery Realm, Yi Chun could not reveal anything. Yi Chun could only inform the 3 sovereigns that Lin Shan was trapped in a certain location within Heavenly God Mountain and could only escape after becoming an existence surpassing a sovereign. Upon hearing this news, Yi Chun immediately saw the 3 Black Dragon Mountain sovereigns reveal expressions of disappointment. The 3 sovereigns even remarked, "We've heard before that Heavenly God Mountain has various secret grounds. One might survive while trapped there in the short term, but escaping is absolutely no simple matter. Lin Shan would need to cultivate to surpass a sovereign to break free. That's essentially impossible." From their tone, Yi Chun could discern the 3 sovereigns had completely abandoned any hope for Lin Shan's escape. They had utterly given up on him. It wasn't surprising the 3 sovereigns of the Black Dragon Mountain Divine Kingdom thought this way. After all, when Lin Shan entered Heavenly God Mountain, he was merely a divine king. Even if he gained something within the mountain, he barely broke through to the Earth Divine Venerate realm, a gap too vast to bridge to ascend beyond a sovereign. The path to cultivating from Earth Divine Venerate to an existence beyond a sovereign entails crossing the barriers of Earth Divine Venerate, Heavenly Divine Venerate, Immortal Divine Venerate, all the way to Supreme Sovereign Realm. Failing to overcome any of these stages would result in immediate death. Even among the 3 Black Dragon Mountain sovereigns present, ranked as 8-star and 9-star sovereigns, none dared to claim they could break through and become an existence surpassing a sovereign. In comparison, Lin Shan's chances of reaching that level were hardly 1 in a billion. This naturally led the 3 sovereigns to completely lose faith in Lin Shan's escape. They even outright considered Lin Shan as already dead within Heavenly God Mountain. In their eyes, even if Lin Shan someday managed to achieve the status surpassing a sovereign and escaped Heavenly God Mountain, it would be an unknown number of years before that came to pass. By then, these 3 sovereigns would either have already broken through to the Divine Master Realm or perished, and they would have no connection to Lin Shan. Thus, in the end, the 3 Black Dragon Mountain sovereigns inquired no further about Lin Shan, merely shaking their heads. Seeing the expressions of the 3 sovereigns, Yi Chun knew they had utterly abandoned Lin Shan. This allowed Yi Chun to deeply experience the meaning of the phrase, the warmth and coldness of human relationships. If Lin Shan had successfully escaped Heavenly God Mountain as Yi Chun did this time, the 3 Black Dragon Mountain sovereigns would likely have treated Lin Shan as a treasure, fostering him with utmost care. Yet now that Lin Shan was trapped, he was entirely abandoned. This is reality. Yi Chun could even foresee that the Black Dragon Mountain Divine Kingdom would stop concerning itself with Lin Shan's affairs in the future, or even with those of his family. Being trapped in Heavenly God Mountain was virtually equivalent to death. They wouldn't wait idly for tens or hundreds of thousands of years for an uncertain hope. Though I have little connection with Lin Shan, he entrusted me with something that granted me the precious Skywind medical scripture. No matter what, I must fulfill Lin Shan's entrustment and rescue his sister, Lin Feier. After leaving Heavenly God Mountain, Yi Chun planned to use the purple-blue thunderflower and purple-blue thunderstone to cultivate the star-blue divine garment as quickly as possible. After that, he intended to embark on his journey to the True Spirit Divine Kingdom to fulfill Huyen Divine Master's wishes by finding General Insha. The journey would be perilous, so he had to prepare thoroughly. On the way to the True Spirit Divine Kingdom, Yi Chun planned to first visit Lin Feier in the Black Dragon Mountain Divine Kingdom to ascertain the nature of her severe illness. Lin Shan had mentioned Lin Feier's condition wasn't immediately life-threatening, granting Yi Chun some flexibility with his timing. Originally, Yi Chun intended to adequately prepare for his journey, then head to the 10,000 Beasts domain to check whether Jiang Yao and Long Li had emerged from the Zishuan treasure palace. Only afterward would he visit Lin Feier and finally proceed to the True Spirit Divine Kingdom. However, the expressions of the 3 Black Dragon Mountain sovereigns made Yi Chun realize they likely wouldn't even bother visiting Lin Shan's homeland or his family. Their actions might be limited to merely conveying Lin Shan's demise in Heavenly God Mountain to the Lin family. Yi Chun could imagine how devastated the Lin family would be upon hearing this news. Thinking of this, Yi Chun promptly drafted a letter, entrusting the 3 Black Dragon Mountain sovereigns to deliver it to Lin Shan's family. In the letter, Yi Chun stated his identity and clearly indicated that he intended to rescue Lin Feier. With this letter, it would at least offer some hope to the Lin family, a flicker of hope for Lin Feier. Furthermore, Yi Chun adjusted his plans. After cultivating the star-blue divine garment, he would immediately set out to find Lin Feier. According to Xiaojiu, cultivating the star-blue divine garment would take around 3 days, first resolving Lin Feier's matter, then heading to the 10,000 Beasts domain to check on Jiang Yao and Long Li, before moving on to the True Spirit Divine Kingdom. This way, the Lin family's worry would be alleviated sooner. The 3 Black Dragon Mountain sovereigns, out of regard for Sovereign Tianmei, agreed to deliver Yi Chun's letter to the Lin family. However, they made it clear they were doing this for Sovereign Tianmei's sake, not Lin Shan's, deepening Yi Chun's sympathy for Lin Shan, trapped within Heavenly God Mountain. Within Sovereign Tianmei's flying divine light, Yi Chun gazed toward the distant horizon. If one day, I too am trapped and doomed somewhere, would my own family face the same despair and helplessness? No, I must continue to grow stronger. Even if I am doomed someday, I will ensure countless people will never dare to disregard my family or my loved ones. Determined, Yi Chun clenched his fists. Having completed his endeavor at Heavenly God Mountain, Yi Chun successfully broke through to the superior heavenly divine venerate realm, honed the wind divine pattern of the eternal God body to great accomplishment, cultivated his divine soul to a blue level, and obtained countless treasures. He had decisively fulfilled Sovereign Xuechen and the Northern Territory King's second requirement. Despite his immense gains, Yi Chen's heart remained tense without a shred of relief. Two major tasks still awaited him. One was fulfilling Huyen Divine Master's wish, and the other was meeting the final requirement, the stellar domain genius battle, set forth by the two sovereigns. Of particular importance was accomplishing Huyen Divine Master's wish. Currently, Yi Chun was still afflicted by the curse power left behind by Huyen Divine Master. With less than 2.5 years left within the 5-year deadline to fulfill the Divine Master's request, failure to locate General Insha in time would result in his death from the curse power. This left Yi Chun no room for relaxation whatsoever. Yi Chun still hoped to bring his parents into a divine kingdom in the future. He certainly didn't want them to worry about him like Lin Shan's family, nor to be plunged into despair. As Yi Chen's mind raced, Sovereign Tian Mei, Sovereign Ziyang, and Sovereign Jialan finally returned with Yi Chun and the 7 others to the Supreme Divine Institute. After conversing briefly with the ancient emperor of the Yen clan, who departed the Supreme Divine Institute to return to his sect, Yi Chun returned to his own cavern residence to begin cultivating the star-blue divine garment and preparing for his impending journey to the true spirit divine kingdom. As news of Yi Chen's safe return from Heavenly God Mountain spread, countless disciples of the Supreme Divine Institute learned of his exploits. Back when Yi Chun was merely a lower divine king, he had swept away numerous rivals. Now, having returned from Heavenly God Mountain after breaking through to the superior divine king realm, his power had likely reached an unfathomable level. Instantly, countless disciples sought to visit Yi Chun. Pressed for time, Yi Chun politely declined all these visits. He only met briefly with the little provincial princess, gifting her 3 sets of elite-level mysterious heavenly divine art that he had acquired within the 7-fold waterfall. Then Yi Chun plunged himself into seclusion. 3 days later, after successfully cultivating the star-blue divine garment, Yi Chun departed the Supreme Divine Institute once more, teleporting directly to the Black Dragon Mountain Divine Kingdom, where Lin Feier resided. Within Frost God City in the Black Dragon Mountain Divine Kingdom, numerous martial artists were abuzz with a rumor. Have you heard? Lin Shan, the prodigy from our city who went to train at the Black Dragon Divine Palace, failed to return from Heavenly God Mountain. What? Lin Shan didn't make it out of Heavenly God Mountain? He died there. According to information from the upper echelons of the Divine Kingdom, Lin Shan didn't perish outright, but is trapped indefinitely within Heavenly God Mountain. His death seems inevitable. In any case, he won't be coming out. What? When I heard Lin Shan went to Heavenly God Mountain, I thought the Lin family was finally catching a stroke of luck, producing an extraordinary figure. Who would have thought it would end this way? The Lin family's Lin Shan trapped in Heavenly God Mountain. Their Lin Feier fallen gravely ill with her cultivation regressed. How tragic for the Lin family. Speaking of Lin Feier, she really is a stunning little maiden. Such a pity. Such a pity. Amid the chatter, the Lin family of Frost God City was engulfed in despair. The Lin family had naturally heard the news about Lin Shan being trapped in Heavenly God Mountain. Upon hearing these words from a heavenly divine venerate who delivered the news, Lin Shan's parents fainted on the spot. How could 2 elders possibly bear such a blow? Not only was Lin Shan their deeply cherished son, but they couldn't accept the outcome of him being trapped forever in Heavenly God Mountain. Even their hope for Lin Shan to return with the pills to cure Lin Feier had been dashed. With Lin Shan in trouble and Lin Feier also gravely ill, the 2 elders were absolutely devastated. The heavenly divine venerate delivering the news merely handed the Lin family a letter and then left. From the letter and the news brought by the heavenly divine venerate, the Lin family learned that a superior divine king named Yi Chun intended to rescue Lin Feier. But the Lin family didn't believe a superior divine king could save Lin Feier. Previously, Lin Shan had invited an immortal divine venerate, yet even that figure had been unable to rid Lin Feier of her cold poison. How could a mere superior divine king hope to achieve such a feat? The Lin family was shrouded in sorrow. Meanwhile, in her sickbed, Lin Feier clutched Yi Chen's letter, her small hand trembling as she thought of her brother Lin Shan, her face streaked with tears. Chapter 946-. I am not willing. The Lin family was shrouded in gloom, immersed in sorrow. Some lamented the tragedy befalling the Lin family. Others, however, were filled with joy at the moment. The Zhou family, the foremost family in Frost God City, had once consulted with a gray-robed elder of immortal divine venerable rank about saving Lin Feier. Zuyen, the young heavenly divine venerable of the Zhou family, now sat within a secret chamber, holding a messaging token in his hand. Mere moments later, Zuyen crushed the token, and his eyes shone with a sharp brilliance. Lin Shan of the Lin family, trapped within Heavenly God Mountain? Even Black Dragon Divine Palace has abandoned him? Excellent, truly excellent. Originally, I planned to wait until Lin Shan returned from Heavenly God Mountain, failing to save Lin Feier. At that point, I'd invite Master Xian to take action, awakening Lin Feier, earning the Lin family's favor, and winning Lin Feier's admiration, then scheming to seize her ice spirit celestial body. But now, with Lin Shan dead, everything simplifies. Without Lin Shan or Black Dragon Divine Palace to rely on, the strongest figure in the Lin family is merely a middling earth divine venerable, insignificant in my eyes. They must be in utter despair by now. When I step in to save Lin Feier, won't the Lin family be grateful to me beyond measure? Coupled with my status, they would surely even welcome the idea of Lin Feier marrying me. By then, acquiring her ice spirit celestial body will be effortless. As these thoughts raced through his mind, flames of greed and fervor flickered in Zuyan's eyes. His palm moved, summoning an icy crystalline fruit into his hand. Humph! The Lin family doesn't even know, nor does Lin Feier, that her illness is caused by the side effects of the ice spirit celestial body. The ice spirit celestial body is a treasure beyond measure. Finding someone born with such a physique is an unparalleled rarity. If I hadn't read about this divine body in an ancient tome and matched the description to Lin Feier's condition, I might have missed this extraordinary opportunity. Once I obtain the life core of her ice spirit celestial body and combine it with this wave origin ice crystal, it's very likely I can refine a supreme ultimate heavenly artifact. Unable to restrain himself any longer, the young heavenly divine venerable, Zuyen, stored the ice crystal fruit safely. With a sharp motion, he stood up from the secret chamber. Then, he flew out of the chamber and into the courtyard of the Zhou family estate. Zuyen spoke to a servant. Go invite Master Xian. I have urgent matters to attend to. The Lin family patriarch, Lin Feier's grandfather, was named Lin Xiao. He was also the Lin family's strongest member, a martial artist of the middling earth divine venerable rank. At this moment, Lin Xiao had gathered all the core members of the Lin family for a clan meeting in the discussion hall. Shan is the most outstanding talent of our Lin family, now trapped within Heavenly God Mountain. Whether or not he can ever return remains uncertain. At present, we've lost our greatest hope. Feier originally had remarkable aptitude as well, but her severe illness has left her unable to continue cultivating. What's urgent now is that we must cultivate a new generation of promising disciples, giving our Lin family renewed hope. The gathered members of the Lin family all sighed at Lin Zhao's words. Lin Feier's uncle, Lin Yuanhua, second in strength to Lin Xiao among the Lin family and possessing the rank of a lower earth divine venerable, spoke up. Father, our Lin family doesn't have much talent among its members. Over the years, we've only produced two prodigies, Shan and Feier. The younger generation's strongest in cultivation is Lin Feng, who's just an eighth tribulation's true god. Cultivation requires both aptitude and resources, and we lack both. Cultivating new hope won't be easy. Indeed, others chimed in. We've always been a modest family in a common divine city. Only Shan and Feier have given us glimpses of hope. It seems we won't be able to further elevate our family. Considering us elders, breaking through our cultivation realms further is infeasible. The younger generation hasn't risen yet, either. Alas, is it the destined end of our Lin family? Fortunately, our Lin family hasn't offended other forces, so this time we've weathered the impact reasonably well. Moving forward, we can only gradually nurture our descendants. Amid the sighs, Lin Xiao raised his hand, halting the conversation. Low aptitude is immutable. We can only hope future generations will produce new talents. However, in terms of resources, we've gained a bit this time. With Shan trapped inside Heavenly God Mountain, Black Dragon Divine Palace didn't say much initially. Yet, for some reason, they sent someone yesterday with some items they claimed were reparations for our loss due to Shan. They also declared that this formally ends our connection with Black Dragon Divine Palace, resulting from Shan's involvement. Though these items are inconsequential to Black Dragon Divine Palace, they are of significant value to the Lin family. Upon hearing Lin Zhao's words, the Lin family members could hardly contain their joy, exclaiming, "Really? What kind of resources?" Though saddened by Lin Shan's inability to escape Heavenly God Mountain and disappointed by the severing of ties with Black Dragon Divine Palace, they had to look forward and address the needs of their family's development. Lin Xiao spoke up. The resources include cultivation pills and techniques. Many of the pills are suitable for true God Kings and Earth Divine Venerables, and the techniques surpass the quality of those in our family's archives, exceptionally beneficial for laying strong foundations in the younger generation. Turning to Lin Yuanhua, he added, "Yuanhua, take a portion of the pills and distribute them among the clan members, prioritizing those with the potential to progress further." "Yes, father." Lin Feier's uncle, Lin Yuanhua, responded with haste. This clan meeting brought a modicum of good news, allowing the family members to momentarily breathe a sigh of relief amidst their sorrows. As the Lin family continued discussing other matters, a youthful member of the family rushed inside, full of urgency. "Feng, why are you so flustered?" Lin Yuanhua reprimanded the youth. This boy, Lin Feng, was the third strongest in cultivation within the Lin family after Lin Shan and Lin Feier. Hearing Lin Yuanhua's rebuke, Lin Feng hastened to respond, "Uncle, Grandpa, Zuoyan of the Zhuo family has arrived to pay his respects." "Zuoyan?" The Lin family members froze in astonishment. Lin Xiao furrowed his brow. "Our Lin family has no dealings with the Zhuo family, the foremost family in Frost God City. What brings Zuoyan here?" Lin Feng explained. "He claims to have come to save Feier. He even brought an immortal divine venerable ranked alchemy grandmaster along." "To save Feier?" The Lin family's surprise grew even more palpable. Zuoyan is older than Shan by considerable years. While his aptitude doesn't surpass Shan's, the Zhuo family's resources have supported him well. He's also considered a minor prodigy and was admitted into Black Dragon Mountain Divine Kingdom's sacred training grounds. "I've heard he's already achieved the Heavenly Divine Venerable Realm," one member remarked. "If he specifically came to save Feier, he might truly succeed." Another speculated, "Zuoyan has attained Heavenly Divine Venerable rank, exceeding even the Patriarch's power. Why would he make a special effort to save Feier? Could it be that he admires her?" These musings prompted speculative, peculiar expressions among the Lin family members. Should Zuoyan indeed harbor feelings for Lin Feier, it might not be a bad thing for the Lin family. For one, Lin Feier could potentially recover from her illness. For another, the Lin family would tie itself to the Zhuo family, gaining a connection to Frost God City's foremost family and aligning with a Heavenly Divine Venerable rank figure. Such an alliance would provide substantial support to the struggling Lin family presently. The peculiar expressions of the Lin family members did not escape Lin Zhao's notice, causing a maelstrom of thoughts to stir within him. Still, he suppressed his chaotic thoughts, resolving to await signs of Zuoyan's ability to save Lin Feier before contemplating further. With this in mind, Lin Xiao stood and walked toward the exit. "Let's go and meet Zuoyan. If he truly can save Feier, such a deed would be a significant favor to our Lin family." Though Zuoyan technically belonged to the same generation as Lin Shan and Lin Feier, His attainment of the heavenly divine venerable realm and his purposeful visit to save Lin Feier rendered the Lin family hesitant to regard him as a junior. Lin Xiao and the Lin family members treated Zui Yan and the upper immortal divine venerable ranked Master Xin, accompanying him with great ceremony, ushering them into the Lin estate. Zui Yan offered the Lin family members bustling in reception a polite smile before addressing Lin Xiao. Patriarch Lin Xiao, I've long wished to visit you, but my cultivation efforts in the sacred grounds kept me occupied until now. Lin Xiao and the Lin family interpreted Zui Yan's tone of respect as indicative of his affections for Lin Feier. Lin Xiao softened his own tone, replying amicably, Zui Yan, can you truly save Feier? Her cold poison defeated even an immortal divine venerable called upon from Black Dragon Divine Palace by Shan. Concern tinged Lin Xiao's voice. Zui Yan smiled, Patriarch Lin Xiao, I've brought Master Xian for this very reason. Master Xian, an alchemy grandmaster, is certain to have a solution for Sister Feier's condition. Besides Zui Yan, the gray-robed elder Master Xian inclined his head in quiet affirmation. Hope blossomed in the hearts of the Lin family members as they regarded Zui Yan and Master Xian. One of the Lin elders commented, Zui Yan, if you can help cure Feier's cold poison, you would be the Lin family's great benefactor. Indeed, indeed, concurred other family members. Their effusive gratitude filled Zui Yan's heart with triumph. His calculations had been correct. His status and strength placed the beleaguered Lin family firmly under his thumb. Might I trouble Patriarch Lin Xiao to lead the way so we can promptly examine Sister Feier's condition? Zui Yan proposed. Lin Xiao smacked his forehead. Ah! How could I forget the matter at hand? Without delay, he led the way, followed closely by Zui Yan, Master Xian, and a throng of Lin family members concerned for Lin Feier's welfare, all converging upon Lin Feier's quarters. Lin Feier lay reclining upon a sickbed, impeccably graceful with striking beauty. The frailty and pallor induced by her prolonged illness imbued her presence with an extra touch of heart-wrenching delicacy. Upon seeing Lin Feier, Zui Yan instinctively gulped. He had encountered her some years ago when Lin Feier was still young, yet her current appearance exceeded any expectations he'd held. Her beauty had become intoxicating. Originally, I only desired Feier's ice spirit celestial body life core. Now, it seems I must obtain her entirely. An imperceptible flash of avaricious divine light crossed Zui Yan's eyes. From her sickbed, Lin Feier registered the sudden influx of visitors. Upon hearing her grandfather's transmitted message explaining Zui Yan and Master Xian's purpose, Lin Feier directed her gaze toward them. Her eyes lingered on Zui Yan for merely a moment before she stunned the assembly with words of adamant refusal. They wish to save me? Grandfather, I refuse. Chapter 947-. Fangs. I refuse. Lin Feier's voice echoed through the room, leaving the Lin family completely stunned. What is going on? Zui Yan and Master Xian have come all this way to save Feier. Why is Feier herself rejecting their help? Could it be she doesn't want to be rescued? Doesn't want to escape the danger of the cold poison? The Lin family members all looked at Lin Feier in confusion. At this moment, Zui Yan stared at Lin Feier in disbelief. During his journey here, he'd imagined many scenarios. How the Lin family would treat him with overwhelming flattery. How they would surely beg him to save Lin Feier. The events leading up to now had confirmed his predictions. The Lin family was indeed extremely courteous to him. Zui Yan had further imagined how, after he saved Lin Feier from the grasp of the cold poison, she would undoubtedly be grateful, even worshipful toward him. However, Zui Yan never anticipated this. As soon as he arrived at Lin Feier's side, she outright refused his help. I refuse. These three sharp words were unbearably harsh, clearly showing that Lin Feier didn't trust him at all. This made the smile on Zui Yan's face instantly awkward. It took him several moments of shock before he managed to overcome the embarrassment. Zui Yan forced out a smile towards Lin Feier. Feier, you must think I'm incapable of saving you, right? Do not worry. I've brought Master Xian, a renowned alchemy grandmaster from our holy land. His medical skills are extraordinary and will surely cure you. Beside him, Master Xian chimed in at Zuiyan's cue. I have deep expertise in the study of cold poison. As long as I investigate the symptoms and pinpoint its signs, I can prescribe the appropriate cure. Young lady, rest assured, I'm 90% confident I can resolve the cold poison afflicting you. Hearing Zuiyan and Master Xian's assured statements, the other members of the Lin family also spoke up one after another. Exactly. Fair. Don't be afraid. Since they are confident, we should at least give it a try. Shouldn't we? Isn't it worth hoping for a chance at recovery? Lin Feier's eldest uncle added. Zuiyan is a prominent figure in Frost God City. Feier, you don't need to worry. Despite the various attempts at persuasion, Lin Feier continued shaking her head. The young girl reached out for the letter placed next to her, written by Yichun, and said, My brother told this big brother Yichun everything about my situation. Big brother Yichun promised to come save me. I'll wait for him. Lin Feier did not reveal all her thoughts. While the other members of the Lin family didn't notice anything suspicious about Zuiyan, Lin Feier felt a hidden and sinister flash of greed, and even an intent to kill, emanating from Zuiyan the moment he stepped into the room. Faced with someone harboring both greed and murderous intent toward her, how could Lin Feier trust him at all? Lin Feier trusted her intuition completely. Just as when she received the letter Yichun had someone deliver to her, and saw his handwriting on it. Although Yichun wrote only briefly about how he came to know Lin Shan, how Lin Shan had entrusted him, and promised little else apart from saying he would come quickly to rescue her, Lin Feier had a gut feeling. This big brother Yichun, whom she had never met, would absolutely keep his word. He would definitely arrive soon to help her recover. Purely relying on this intuition alone, Lin Feier trusted Yichun far more than she trusted Zuiyan, who was standing right beside her. Unable to explain her perception of Zuiyan's true nature to the Lin family, Lin Feier could only express that she was waiting for Yichun. The Lin family took her words as a sign of shyness and continued urging her persistently. Finally, Lin Feier could no longer contain herself. She struggled to shout loudly, I don't want it means I don't want it. Even if I die, I won't accept their help. Due to her severe cold poison, Lin Feier's outburst left her delicate hair disheveled and beads of sweat forming on her pale forehead. Feier! Lin Feier's loud declaration startled her father and mother, who were resting in a nearby room. They had fainted multiple times upon hearing the news of Lin Shan's death on Heavenly God Mountain and had been bedridden since, recuperating quietly over the past few days. Upon hearing Lin Feier's voice, they rushed over immediately. After understanding the situation and seeing the determined gleam in their daughter's eyes, both of them unhesitatingly turned to Zuiyan and Master Xian and said, Thank you for coming all this way. Since Feier doesn't consent, that's the end of the matter. We must respect her decision. The other members of the Lin family, deeply loving Lin Feier, also followed suit. Although they wished for Zuiyan to save Lin Feier, and even contemplated establishing ties with Zuiyan, they wouldn't force Lin Feier to cooperate when her refusal was so adamant. Lin Xiao stepped forward apologetically and cupped his hands towards Zuiyan and Master Xian. Young friend Zuiyan, Master Xian, we deeply apologize. If you wouldn't mind moving to the guest hall, we'll host a proper banquet to express our gratitude. As for Feier, it seems the heavens will decide her fate. It's likely she isn't destined to receive your aid. The other Lin family members nodded solemnly, no longer trying to persuade her. At that moment, as he caught the faint look of disgust in Lin Feier's bright eyes, Zuiyan's heart surged with boundless rage. He hadn't anticipated that his carefully crafted plan would fall apart at the very last step because of Lin Feier. Am I really so repulsive to you? You'd rather perish than let me save you. Instantly, malice sprouted in his heart. Zuiyan had come for Lin Feier's unique, ice spirit mysterious body in the first place, and he wouldn't allow himself to fail now. Originally, I wanted to save you, then let you feel grateful, so I could slowly plot to take your ice spirit mysterious body. Since you won't let me help, there's no need to waste time pretending. After all, it's just a small Middle-earth god family. If I want something, Who can stop me? As Zui Yan's thoughts churned, a formidable killing intent emanated from him. Zui Yan, a heavenly divine venerable, carried with him an aura of immense ferocity. As it spread through the room, the members of the Lin family began trembling uncontrollably. Everyone in the Lin family realized that something was wrong. With fear in their eyes, they turned to Zui Yan. Lin Zhao's heart sank with dread. He hurriedly addressed Zui Yan. Young friend Zui Yan, please don't misunderstand. Feier bears no ill will toward you. There's no need to take offense. Offense. Zui Yan no longer felt the need to conceal his true intentions. Laughing coldly, he didn't bother wasting further pleasantries. Ha! Of course I won't take offense. But regardless of anything, I'm taking Lin Feier away today. Whether or not she accepts my aid, she's coming with me. Anyone who dares to obstruct me will die. Gasp. Zui Yan's words left the Lin family in complete disbelief. They couldn't fathom how the once gentlemanly Zui Yan had revealed such a monstrous side. Was he really planning to battle the entire Lin family? And the expression on his face when he said he'd take Lin Feier, it wasn't one of love or admiration. It was as if he were preparing to devour her. The Lin family's earlier guilt over Feier rejecting Zui Yan vanished entirely. They now realized that Zui Yan's offer to save Lin Feier had never been sincere to begin with. Upon being refused, he had bared his fangs. Understanding this, the Lin family's collective divine power surged mightily. Regardless of Zui Yan being a heavenly divine venerable, or whether Master Xian was an upper immortal divine venerable, if they intended to take Lin Feier by force, the Lin family would resist with all their might, even if it meant leaving their corpses behind. Chapter 948-Yichun? Up ahead is Frost God City of the Black Dragon Mountain Divine Kingdom. After teleporting out from a teleportation divine formation on a piece of star continent, Yichun flew northward for a long while and finally saw a huge divine city covered in thick white snow from afar. Ever since leaving the Supreme Divine Institute, Yichun's journey had been quite smooth. In his hand was the orange teleportation star seal granted by Huyan Divine Master, allowing him to freely use almost all teleportation star formations between divine kingdoms in this universe. The Black Dragon Mountain Divine Kingdom was not too far from the Wanmu Mountain Divine Kingdom. After 4 transmissions, Yichun smoothly arrived at the capital of the Black Dragon Mountain Divine Kingdom. Then, Yichun quickly reached the Star Continent where Frost God City was located through the teleportation divine formation between the capital of Black Dragon Mountain Divine Kingdom and the Star Continent where Frost God City was located. And then, within Yichun's void shuttle, he finally arrived at the domain where Frost God City was located. Looking at the huge divine city ahead, Yichun smiled faintly. I never thought I'd have a chance to come to such an ordinary star continent. If not for Lin Shan, I might never have had the chance in this lifetime to come here. Yichun marveled at the mystery of the world. All movements in life are unpredictable indeed. Back then, Lin Shan mentioned that his family, the Lin family, is to the west of Frost God City. Yichun's divine sense directly glanced toward the west of Frost God City. However, instantly, Yichun furrowed his brow. Wasn't it said that on this ordinary star continent, the strongest martial artist would only be at the heavenly divine venerate realm? Why do I sense an immortal divine venerate class martial artist here? Yichun investigated further. The domain where that immortal divine venerate martial artist is located is actually the domain Lin Shan mentioned, where the Lin family is located. There is an immortal divine venerate class martial artist within the Lin family, and moreover, an upper immortal divine venerate. And there is a mid-level heavenly divine venerate as well? When Yichun's divine sense swept into the Lin family, seeing the scene of confrontation between the Lin family members and Zui Yan, and another upper immortal divine venerate standing beside Zui Yan, Yichun's complexion instantly changed. His gaze instantly turned cold. It seems the Lin family is in some trouble. At this moment, the mind and spirit of the Lin family members were all trembling. They wouldn't let Zui Yan take Lin Feier, yet facing a heavenly divine venerate level figure, they too felt an immense pressure. especially seeing Master Xin, the upper immortal divine venerate at Zui Yan's side, give a sinister laugh after seeing Zui Yan's actions. Zui Yan, it turns out your interest in this little girl is beyond what I anticipated. No matter whether you want to take this girl away for whatever reason, I'll lend you a helping hand. Had I known you wanted to take this girl by force, I wouldn't have even brought some drugs. Killing these earth divine venerates and God King true gods doesn't take the slightest effort. Master Xian's gaze, revealing cold chilling intent, left the Lin family members feeling their hearts turn to ash. Hearing Master Xian's words, Zui Yan sneered coldly. His mentor was a close friend of this Master Xian, so he wasn't worried that Master Xian would oppose him. Originally, he wanted to handle things simply. Now he had to take action, and he swiftly made his decision. Master Xian, do these small fry think they can stop me? They're merely ants trying to shake a tree. You just cover for me. I want to see how they plan on stopping me. Boom! Zui Yan grabbed forcefully, reaching toward Lin Feier lying on the sickbed. Seeing Zui Yan's move, the Lin family members all screamed, "No!" They all surged to block Zui Yan. As for Lin Feier, facing this life and death crisis, she instead displayed a determined calmness, looking at Zui Yan and saying, "I knew you weren't a good person. It seems you saw through my intentions for coming all along. No wonder you refused my treatment. Too clever a woman isn't good, Lin Feier. Once I've taken you with me, I'll be sure to educate you well." Zui Yan's grab toward Lin Feier showed no hesitation. Seeing the Lin family's attempts to intercept him, he swung his large hand, launching surging divine power that sent the Lin family members flying, crashing through the house's walls and flinging them dozens of meters away. The next moment, Zui Yan's claw hand was about to reach Lin Feier. Seeing that all their combined power wasn't even a match for Zui Yan's single move of this heavenly divine venerate, and with another upper immortal divine venerate eyeing them from the side, the Lin family members were in utter despair. Is the heavens going to annihilate our Lin family? First it was Shaner who got into trouble, and now, out of nowhere, a heavenly divine venerate is clashing with our Lin family. Feier! Amid countless cries, many Lin family members no longer dared to watch Zui Yan's claw reaching for Lin Feier. Lin Feier's parents became deathly pale at this moment, desperately rushing towards Lin Feier, but they had been flung dozens of meters away earlier and couldn't reach in time to save her. Just as Lin Feier was about to fall into Zui Yan's claw, amid the Lin family's numerous screams, everyone suddenly heard a voice. A heavenly divine venerate dares to be this arrogant. Then all the Lin family members suddenly felt a powerful force enveloping them, protecting them within. Following that, everyone saw Zui Yan's claw hand reaching for Lin Feier, encountering an incredible force which pulled violently upward. Following this, Zui Yan himself was completely lifted up in an instant and with a boom, was pulled out from the rooftop, flying into the sky. Bang! 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 The roof was pierced through and debris fell down. But at this moment a mysterious black and white divine light enveloped Lin Feier, preventing any tile from hurting her. This scene left the Lin family members completely dumbfounded. Who was it? Who saved Feier? Who saved them? This scene left Zui Yan utterly stunned and Master Xian beside him equally shocked. Being pulled by an immense force toward the sky, Zui Yan yelled out loud, "Master Xian, save me!" Seeing this, Master Xian moved to fly towards Zui Yan, intending to retrieve him. However, Master Xian suddenly felt a force also binding him, pulling him toward the sky. Even he, in the upper immortal divine venerate realm, seemed unable to resist this power. Heavens! Which great one has arrived? It must be a lord in the sovereign realm. Filled with immense shock, as he was pulled into the sky, Master Xian hurriedly glanced around. But he saw no figure. At this time, the Lin family members also flew into the sky, looking around. Even Lin Feier on the sickbed, recovering some strength under the magical black and white divine light enveloping her, seemed to think of something. Disbelief and immense joy filled her face. Despite her illness, she struggled and flew out of the house, into the sky. amid everyone's gazes. In the void heaven, a massive heavenly curtain was directly torn open, and a young figure emerged. This young figure was no more than 21 or 22, but with giant airy wings behind him, he emanated an aura vast enough to strike fear into countless immortal divine venerates. This vast aura even stirred the entire Frost God city, with countless martial artists flying out from the divine city, hurriedly glancing in the direction of the sensed aura. When these martial artists saw Zui Yen and Master Xian seemingly suspended there, countless eyes filled with utter shock. Even the old gray-robed upper immortal divine venerate was no match at all for this emerging youth from the void. What sort of personage was this young figure? What kind of existence was he? Why was it that he only showed an upper god king realm, yet exuded such frightening aura? Among the crowd, many martial artists from the Zhou family, the first family of Frost God City, also saw Zui Yen and Master Xian, and they were all shocked to the extreme. What's going on? At this time, everyone saw that the young figure paid no attention to the suspended Zui Yen and Master Xian, but took a step into the void and walked down from the void heaven. From hundreds of meters away, he asked Lin Feier, "Are you Lin Shan's sister, Lin Feier?" Hearing this warm voice and looking at the young figure not much older than herself, Lin Feier's face flushed with excitement. She looked at this young figure, and cautiously, with a trace of hope, she asked, "Are you, Brother Yi Chen?" Chapter 949- Shock. "Are you, Brother Yi Chen?" Lin Feier's words reached the ears of the Lin family members, and they all looked in disbelief toward the young man in the sky. They suddenly remembered that they had previously received a letter. The letter was sent by a god king named Yi Chen, claiming that he would come to the Lin family to cure Lin Feier. At the time, almost everyone in the Lin family disregarded the letter entirely. No one thought that when even the immortal divine sovereign invited by Lin Shan failed to heal Lin Feier, how could a mere god king possess such ability? Some even believed that the god king Yi Chen must be delusional. But now, when they heard Lin Feier declare that the young man before her was indeed the very same god king Yi Chen, the Lin family turned their eyes toward him, and sure enough, he was undeniably at the upper god king realm. Heavens! A mere god king realm can somehow restrain an upper immortal divine sovereign. Does this mean his combat strength surpasses the immortal divine sovereign realm? He is the god king Yi Chen. The Lin family members felt unprecedented astonishment, unable to believe or even fathom the sight. They had never heard of a god king being strong enough to overpower an upper immortal divine sovereign. Even the mightiest god king from their Black Dragon Mountain divine kingdom had never achieved such a feat. He simply cannot be the god king Yi Chen. A god king would absolutely be incapable of achieving this. Perhaps he is a sovereign-tier expert deliberately concealing his cultivation under the guise of a god king realm. Such was the contemplation among the Lin family members. Meanwhile, as they wrestled with these thoughts, they saw the young man in the sky nod in response to Lin Feier's question. "Yes, I am Yi Chen, the one who wrote to you." Indeed, it was Yi Chen, hastily arriving in Frost God City, who subdued Zui Yen and Master Xian earlier. Though Yi Chen was still at the God King realm, after the Battle of Heavenly God Mountain, Yi Chen's combat strength had grown to sweep away immortal divine sovereigns. Rescuing the Lin family from Zui Yen and Master Xian's grasp was naturally effortless. By this stage, Yi Chen had already eclipsed the legends of Wanmu Mountain Divine Kingdom, surpassing even Long Li, who had once defeated the Heavenly Divine Sovereign as a God King, and establishing an entirely new height of combat prowess within the God King realm. When the young man admitted to being the very figure who had sent the letter, the Lin family was wholly stunned and deeply shaken. God King realm, it really is the God King Yi Chen. A God King capable of overwhelming an upper immortal divine sovereign. That's practically a myth. This Yi Chen's strength might have already surpassed countless God Kings across the universe. Aside from the very strongest God Kings of the most powerful divine kingdoms, no one can likely compare to him. It's also plausible that Yi Chen has an extraordinary figure backing him, perhaps a 9-star sovereign or even someone exceeding the sovereign realm. Otherwise, how could someone at the God-King realm cultivate such unfathomable combat strength? The Lin family patriarch, Lin Xiao, was trembling with excitement. He realized that Yi Chun must be an elite genius far beyond his usual scope of contact. If not for Yi Chen's sudden arrival, the Lin family would have met their doom at Zui Yan's hands. At this moment, Yi Chun not only subdued Zui Yan and Master Xian, but also brought newfound hope to the Lin family. After all, a god-king of such unimaginable ability might indeed be able to cure Lin Feier's cold poison. The countless members of the Lin family now turned their hopeful gazes toward the void where Yi Chun stood. They speculated how Yi Chun might deal with Zui Yan and Master Xian. Even more, they wondered what methods Yi Chun would use to save Lin Feier. Having exchanged brief words with Lin Feier, Yi Chun turned his gaze to Zui Yan and Master Xian. The moment Yi Chen's eyes landed on them, both Zui Yan and Master Xian began to tremble uncontrollably. Held captive by Yi Chun, they felt the sheer magnitude of his power far more deeply than anyone else, especially Master Xian, an upper immortal divine sovereign. He had never encountered a god-king capable of standing up to someone of his caliber. When Master Xian and Zui Yan saw Yi Chun speaking so warmly to Lin Feier, their hearts pounded even harder. They feared what terrifying fate Yi Chun might have in store for them. Fixing his cold gaze upon them, Yi Chun asked Lin Feier, "Why has your Lin family ended up in conflict with these two?" Lin Feier quickly recounted how Zui Yan had insisted on treating her, then lashed out when she refused, revealing how she sensed his murderous intent. Upon hearing this, Yi Chen's eyes locked onto Zui Yan. Lin Feier is just a young girl. Why target her so relentlessly? At this moment, Zui Yan's heart raced incessantly, leaving him unable to formulate a coherent answer. Nor did he dare reveal his knowledge of Lin Feier's ice spirit physique. Finally, Zui Yan forced himself to stay composed and said, "I only wish to save Lin Feier. She refused my treatment, and in a moment of frustration, I acted impulsively. I truly didn't harbor any malicious intent. Esteemed cultivator, I am a disciple of Black Profound Sea Training Sanctuary. I ask for your mercy." Toward the end, Zui Yan invoked the name of his sect, Black Profound Sea Training Sanctuary, attempting to intimidate Yi Chun into letting him go. How could such a petty scheme escape Yi Chen's insight? As for the so-called Black Profound Sea Training Sanctuary, Yi Chun hadn't even heard of it and dismissed it entirely. His only focus was to help Lin Feier resolve this calamity. Seeing Zui Yan failing to reveal the truth, Yi Chun had no patience for further discourse. Raising his hand, he sent Zui Yan hurtling toward him. Yi Chen's hand hovered above Zui Yan's head as he activated the soul-searching secret technique to extract his memories. Mere moments later, Yi Chun discarded Zui Yan, leaving him suspended in the void. At the same time, an ice crystal emerged from Zui Yan's body and flew into Yi Chen's palm. That ice crystal turned out to be none other than the Wave Origin Ice Crystal, which Zui Yan had intended to refine into a supreme ultimate heavenly artifact by exploiting Lin Feier's innate divine body. Gazing at the ice crystal in his hand, Yi Chen's eyes shimmered with brilliance. Wave Origin Ice Crystal, Ice Spirit Physique. So Zui Yan came for Lin Feier's unique divine constitution? Lin Feier actually possesses a special innate divine body? An ice spirit physique capable of transforming such a small ice crystal into a peerless ultimate heavenly artifact? Of course. Though the revelations hidden in Zui Yan's memories were astonishing, Yi Chun would never emulate Zui Yan by scheming against Lin Feier's ice spirit physique. No matter how tempting the possibility of obtaining a peerless heavenly artifact might be, Yi Chun would never stoop to harming the innocent. Yi Chun casually flipped his hand, storing the Wave Origin Ice Crystal, and then turned to Xiaojiu to inquire more about the ice spirit physique. Meanwhile, his penetrating gaze fell once again upon Zui Yan and Master Xian. After uncovering Zui Yan's plot, Yi Chun knew he had to deal with the aftermath for the Lin family's sake. If he saved Lin Feier but failed to punish Zui Yan, the Lin family could still face disaster after his departure. Yi Chun understood he must establish his prestige. Only by making Zui Yan, Master Xian, Zuiyan's family, and all of Frost God City understand that neither he nor the Lin family could be trifled with. Could he truly protect them? With this thought, Yi Chun stopped suppressing his aura, letting his true presence fully unfold. Whoosh! In an instant, an overwhelming aura erupted across all of Frost God City's skies and voids. This aura was akin to that of a sovereignty expert. Such an aura had never before appeared in Frost God City. The entire city, its land, heavens, and people, seemed consumed by a wild, chaotic energy, leaving everyone trembling uncontrollably. Countless martial artists across Frost God City even fell to their knees before Yi Chun involuntarily. Especially Zuiyan, Master Xian, and countless warriors from the Zhou family. Faces frozen in sheer terror. They had already recognized Yi Chen's formidable strength earlier, but they could never have foreseen how much more terrifying he could be when unleashing his full power. Then, Yi Chen's voice resounded across the void. I am Yi Chun of Wanmu Mountain Divine Kingdom's Supreme Divine Institute, a friend of Lin Shan. Lin Shan may be trapped in Heavenly God Mountain, but his Lin family is not to be bullied. Anyone who bullies the Lin family challenges Lin Shan and stands against me. Yi Chun! Whoosh! Yi Chen's words sent the martial artists of Frost God City into collective shock, many gasping audibly. So he came for Lin Shan's family. There were rumors that Lin Shan was trapped and doomed in Heavenly God Mountain. I thought the Lin family would fall into decline, but they still have such a powerhouse watching over them. The Lin family is untouchable. Zuiyan must have offended the Lin family and provoked this young man. Earlier, countless martial artists in Frost God City had pitted and lamented for the Lin family, but now those same people felt nothing but envy. After all, not every family has the immense fortune of being sheltered by such a peerless genius. Shan'er. This Yi Chun is here for Shan'er, to safeguard our Lin family. The Lin family members were overwhelmed with emotion, tears wetting their eyes. They thought of Lin Shan, still trapped in Heavenly God Mountain, and they realized their family was no longer alone or helpless. Having the attention and care of such an extraordinary talent could bring unimaginable fortune to the Lin family. With someone like Yi Chun looking out for them, no one would dare provoke the Lin family without first weighing the consequences. Brother Yi Chun, how do you plan to deal with Zuiyan and Master Xian? Lin Feier asked, her delicate face filled with exhilaration. She had a strong sense that this unfamiliar elder brother might truly be able to cure her. Lin Feier was sharp and perceptive. She understood that Yi Chen's earlier statement was meant to establish his authority and protect the Lin family. And so, she followed his lead and posed the question aloud. Chapter 950-8 Sovereigns. How should we deal with these two? Upon hearing Lin Feier's words, Yi Chun directly turned his gaze towards Zuiyan and Master Xian. Under Yi Chen's gaze, Zuiyan and Master Xian felt a bone-chilling cold spread throughout their bodies. They understood that the young man before them possessed the absolute power to take their lives. Their fate now hung entirely in the hands of this young man. Zuiyan was filled with regret at this very moment. Had he known someone as formidable as Yi Chun stood behind the Lin family, he wouldn't even dream of coercing the Lin family out of desperation. As for Master Xian, his regret was even more profound. He had never imagined that doing a minor favor for Zuiyan in a seemingly ordinary divine city would result in such a monumental calamity. Yi Chun fixed his gaze upon Zuiyan and Master Xian for several moments before finally speaking. The two of you attempted to harm the Lin family members. Even though you weren't able to truly harm them, your intention deserves death. The words deserves death sent a chilling wave through Zuiyan and Master Xian's hearts. A sinister premonition arose within both. Was Yi Chun intent on killing them? At this moment, the head of the Zhou family, the foremost family of Frost God City, along with other martial artists, had heard Yi Chen's words and were struck with terror. The Zhou family had painstakingly raised such an outstanding descendant like Zuiyan. If he were killed, it would be an immense loss for their family. My lord, have mercy. Zuiyan acted impulsively. We implore you to understand and spare him. The martial artists of the Zhou family prostrated themselves before Yi Chun, pleading earnestly. After their pleas, they didn't dare utter another word. They only waited nervously for the decision of the powerful young man before them. After all, Yi Chen's combat power was equivalent to that of a sovereign. They dared not provoke him, nor could they defy him. Their only choice was to plead for mercy and await his verdict. Observing the tremblings Wei Yan, Master Xian, and the gathered Zhou family members, Yi Chun spoke impassively. Kill them? Killing them would be the simplest solution, but I have no plans to do so. As he said this, two divine lights surged forth from Yi Chen's hand, directly piercing into Wei Yan and Master Xian's bodies. Hearing Yi Chun say he didn't intend to kill them brought a brief relief to Wei Yan and Master Xian, until they suddenly felt the divine lights penetrate their bodies, startling them. Both men immediately turned their focus inward to examine the divine lights entering their bodies. What they found made their hearts sink. They could sense that the divine lights were like parasites lodged deep in their physical bodies, resembling deadly imprints that could claim their lives at any moment. The two realized that these mysterious divine light imprints undeniably had the power to kill them effortlessly. The divine light imprint within your bodies is my unique, poisonous curse mark. While I have no intention of killing you, you must accept punishment. Since you previously threatened the Lin family members, your punishment will be to protect their safety for 100 years. During this time, I will periodically visit the Lin family. Should anything happen to them, I will evaluate the situation and punish you accordingly, even taking your lives if necessary. Do not delude yourselves into thinking you can break the poisonous curse mark within your bodies. Allow me to tell you the truth. This mark cannot be undone, not even by a powerful 9-star sovereign. A burst of astonishment arose among the martial artists of Frost God City who overheard Yi Chen's words. Poisonous curse mark? Not even a mighty 9-star sovereign could undo it? The gathered martial artists were overwhelmed by the thought that the divine king before them possessed such terrifying capabilities. Meanwhile, Wei Yan and Master Xian felt ice seep into their very souls. Although Yi Chun hadn't killed them outright, the mark he left ensured their lives would remain precariously tethered to protecting the Lin family for the next century. Moreover, they couldn't guarantee the Lin family members' safety for 100 years. Even if they dared not harm the Lin family themselves, that didn't mean external dangers wouldn't arise. Nevertheless, they dared not defy Yi Chen's orders. Both hurriedly nodded in response. We will follow your commands and ensure the Lin family's safety. However, my lord, should the Lin family endanger themselves or face obstacles we cannot handle, we would be powerless. Wei Yan and Master Xian were cut off abruptly as Yi Chun interjected. Whether you adhere to my orders or harbor other thoughts, I will know. You better hope the Lin family remains safe during these 100 years. Turning to Wei Yan, Yi Chun added sternly, Wei Yan, I am fully aware of your schemes. Lin Feier's divine body. I will personally help her unlock its cultivation method. You should understand that once that divine body is cultivated, it will no longer be susceptible to external exploitation. Yi Chen's warning caused beads of sweat to pour down Wei Yan's face. He knew that Yi Chun had uncovered his plans to exploit Lin Feier's ice spirit mysterious body through soul searching. I understand, my lord. I would never dare entertain that desire again. Upon hearing Yi Chun affirm his ability to unlock the cultivation method for Lin Feier's divine body, Wei Yan realized any hopes of using the ice spirit mysterious body were lost to him forever. Wei Yan was convinced the young man before him had the ability to fully unlock the cultivation method of Lin Feier's divine body. Moreover, Wei Yan understood that once the ice spirit mysterious body was cultivated, it would no longer suffer from cold poison backlash. Its life core would completely fuse within the martial artist, rendering it inaccessible to external manipulation. Adding to his misfortune, the treasure he'd painstakingly acquired, the wave origin ice crystal, had already fallen into Yi Chen's hands. He was utterly powerless to pursue the ice spirit mysterious body further. At this moment, Wei Yan felt an even deeper pang of regret. He had lost everything. He'd failed to obtain the ice spirit mysterious body, He was forced to protect the Lin family for a century. He forfeited his treasure, and even his life hung in someone else's grasp. Having finalized his punishment for Zui Yan and Master Xian, Yi Chun turned his attention away from them, fixing his gaze upon the Lin family members and Lin Feier. Yi Chun had determined his course of action out of thorough consideration, choosing not to kill Zui Yan and Master Xian outright. After all, Yi Chun had countless matters to attend to and could not remain stationed to protect the Lin family permanently. Killing Zui Yan and Master Xian might have resolved things unequivocally, but extracting protection from a heavenly divine venerable and an upper immortal divine venerable was infinitely more beneficial. Moreover, Yi Chun was confident that Zui Yan and Master Xian would not dare defy his commands or entertain ulterior motives. As long as they wanted to survive, they would have no choice but to comply. The poisonous curse mark Yi Chun had mentioned, claiming it was beyond even a 9-star sovereign's ability to remove, was no exaggeration. This poisonous curse mark was derived from the Skywind medical scripture left by the Skywind Divine Master within the Heavenly Wind Cave, a Dharma seal created by a figure at the Divine Master level. Although Yi Chun himself couldn't yet imprint this seal onto sovereign-level individuals, applying it to divine venerables ensured it remained unbreakable by sovereigns. As long as the poisonous curse mark remained, Zui Yan and Master Xian dared not harbor dangerous thoughts. Of course, Yi Chun would not entrust the Lin family's safety entirely to Zui Yan and Master Xian's protection. Yi Chun extended a finger, and a black and white divine light burst forth. A massive light formation spanning dozens of meters in radius unfolded outside the Lin family estate. Within this vast array, endless divine light shimmered, and a potent swordsmanship killing force pulsed through. Addressing the Lin family members, Yi Chun announced, "This formation can be called the 1,000 Swords Killing Formation. I will give you the method to activate this formation. This 1,000 Swords Killing Formation will also serve to protect the Lin family. Should anyone attack the Lin family, you may use this formation to counter them. Any threat below sovereign-level combat power can be vanquished by this formation." Hearing Yi Chun's words filled the Lin family members with unbounded joy. They hadn't expected Yi Chun to order Zui Yan and Master Xian to protect the Lin family, while also leaving behind such a powerful defensive formation. At this moment, the Lin family members were overwhelmed with gratitude for Yi Chun. "Thank you, brother Yi Chun." Lin Feier deeply bowed toward Yi Chun. "Thank you, my lord." The Lin family's martial artists gazed at Yi Chun with immense gratitude. "Big brother, your kindness will never be forgotten by the Lin family." The younger members of the Lin family, including Lin Fong and other youths, looked toward Yi Chun with admiration and thankfulness. Seeing the expressions of the Lin family members brought Yi Chun's thoughts back to his own youth. Years ago, he had looked upon the cultivation method left in his family's ancestral land by Heavenly Saint Di Kong with endless gratitude, at the time, unaware of the senior's name or identity. Yi Chun had never imagined that one day, he would also grant another family such an opportunity. "Lin Shan, you've allowed me to obtain the Skywind medical scripture. In return, I'll extend care to the Lin family. After I've healed Lin Feier, we'll be even." Yi Chun murmured softly while gazing upon the 1,000 Swords Killing Formation. Recalling Lin Shan, Yi Chun turned back to address the Lin family members aloud. "Ultimately, regardless of the measures I leave behind, your family's strength must grow through its own efforts. After all, only by becoming strong yourselves can you truly take control of your destiny." Yi Chun's words resonated deeply with Patriarch Lin Shao and the Lin family members. They understood Yi Chun was encouraging them not to stagnate, even under the protection he had provided. "All right, the matter here is settled. Lin Feier, now it's time to address your treatment. Come, let's enter Lin Mansion. I'll explain your condition to you in detail." Having consulted Xiaojiu, Yi Chun now had deeper insights into Lin Feier's ice spirit mysterious body, along with a clear plan for her treatment and cultivation. Lin Feier nodded softly. Her thoughts lingered on the conversation between Yi Chun and Zui Yan earlier. "Brother Yi Chun said Zui Yan wanted to harm me because of my divine body? My divine body? What divine body?" Could it have something to do with that snow-colored leaf that appeared in my body 2 years ago? While pondering, Lin Feier joined the Lin family members in leading Yichun into Lin Mansion. Zui Yan and Master Xian, now freed from their bindings, stole a glance at Yichun in fear before shifting their focus to the poisonous curse marks within their bodies. Without lingering in front of the Lin Mansion, they slunk away alongside the martial artists of the Zhou family. Meanwhile, the martial artists of Frost God City remained gathered in the skies above the Divine City, fervently discussing what had transpired. A divine king suppressing both a heavenly divine venerable and an immortal divine venerable, single-handedly safeguarding an entire family. What they had witnessed seemed more like legend than reality, leaving them unable to stop marveling in awe and endlessly debating the event. At the same time, neither Yichun, the Lin family members, nor the martial artists of Frost God City were aware that, within the endless star domain above the polar heaven of Star Continent, 8 powerful sovereigns were gazing toward the direction of Frost God City. These 8 sovereigns, initially intent on passing through this modest star continent without stopping, had been drawn to Frost God City the moment Yichun activated the Thousand Swords killing formation, and the black and white divine light radiated outward. Chapter 951 An Invitation. The 8 powerful sovereigns consisted of 7 men and 1 woman. Their lowest cultivation level was at the 7-star sovereign realm, while the highest among them included 2 at the 9-star sovereign realm. When the gazes of these 8 sovereigns fell upon the Thousand-Sword killing formation, shimmering with black and white divine light that Yichun had set up in Frost God City, the 9-star sovereign dressed in white, lean and carrying a divine sword on his back, brightened his eyes. What an impressive display of the supreme mystical sword technique. A mere god-king realm youth able to set up such a formidable swordsmanship killing formation. He is truly remarkable. Upon hearing the words of the white-robed sovereign, another 9-star sovereign, an old man leaning on a cane and carrying a wine gourd on his back, chuckled. Lu Daoist friend, your eyes always light up at the sight of exceptional swordsmanship. Are you perhaps considering taking another disciple? Among the 8 of us, you've taken quite a number of nominal disciples throughout the years of traveling this universe. Taking a disciple? The white-robed 9-star sovereign smiled faintly. Just based on the extraordinary nature of this killing formation alone, I do have the intention of taking him as a disciple. Moreover, his peculiar divine power fascinates me even more. This youth in the God-King realm might very well be the strongest God-King we've ever encountered throughout our countless years of exploration. The other sovereigns were astounded by the high evaluation their Lu Daoist brother gave to a mere God-King. Throughout their endless travels across the universe, they had rarely encountered anyone who warranted such praise. All 7 turned their attention to the Thousand-Sword killing formation below and also focused on Yichun. Upon closer examination, they too recognized its extraordinary nature. Indeed, it is a remarkably wondrous swordsmanship killing formation. Despite traveling through numerous divine kingdoms, we've never seen anything like it. And that unique divine power, it seems entirely unfamiliar. Furthermore, that young God King seems to have managed to restrain an upper immortal divine venerable. His combat prowess is without a doubt exceptional. It appears that, except for the strongest divine kingdoms we have yet to visit, no other god kings in countless divine kingdoms could rival him. The sole 8-star female sovereign among them spoke to the white-robed 9-star sovereign. This young god king is indeed extraordinary. Lu Daoist brother, you have even more reason to take him under your wing. If you won't act, then may I make the first move? Such a disciple is one I greatly desire. The 8-star female sovereign's words elicited chuckles from the other 7. While traveling the universe and cultivating, all 8 were fond of exceptional talents. Though they wouldn't take full disciples to keep by their side, they often took nominal disciples, granting them some opportunities and fortunes. At this moment, having recognized Yichun's unmatched potential, not only did the female sovereign express interest in taking him as a disciple, but several others also showed their eagerness. However, the white-robed 9-star sovereign shook his head toward the female sovereign and laughed. I would be delighted to take him as my pupil, but, Taoist friend I'm afraid none of us will get the chance. From my discernment, this young god king, despite his current status, has been taught by someone whose power vastly exceeds mine. The white-robed nine-star sovereign's keen insight was sharp indeed. He had recognized the extraordinary origin of Yi Chen's mysterious spirit thousand sword skills, inherited from Huyen Divine Master. Someone with power that far surpasses yours taught him this swordsmanship? The female sovereign, surnamed He, was startled. Could it be that the one who taught him is beyond the sovereign level? Is it a divine master? The white-robed nine-star sovereign nodded. Without doubt, it's someone of divine master caliber. Consider this, even a divine master would pass down such techniques to him. Although our cultivation realms are quite high, it's unlikely he would consider us worthy. The other sovereigns nodded in acknowledgement. Indeed, even though they were at the 7-star, 8-star, and 9-star sovereign realms, they paled in comparison to a divine master. A young prodigy capable of securing the guidance of a divine master was unlikely to settle for sovereign teachers. In an instant, they all abandoned the thought of taking Yi Chun as a disciple. However, though they had given up the notion of accepting him as a disciple, the 8 did not intend to leave just yet. Encountering such an intriguing young god king is, in itself, a rare opportunity. Shall we descend and meet him? It would be a meaningful interaction, wouldn't it? The old 9-star sovereign with the wine gourd suggested. The other 7 sovereigns chuckled in agreement. I'm truly curious about this young friend. Let's go. It would be good to meet him. The 8 powerful sovereigns exchanged glances, and without any visible movement, their figures vanished from the endless star domain. As the 8 sovereigns disappeared, Yi Chun, along with the members of the Lin family, had already entered the Lin mansion. Previously, when Zui Yan attacked the Lin family, and Yi Chun subdued Zui Yan and Master Xian, Lin Feier's chambers had been damaged. Thus, they welcomed Yi Chun into the mansion's meeting hall. The meeting hall could only accommodate a limited number of people, so most lower-level martial artists and juniors remained outside, while Yi Chun, Lin Feier, Lin Xiao, Lin Feier's parents, and about 10 others entered the hall. Yi Chun, can you truly cure me? In the meeting hall, Lin Feier gazed at Yi Chun with anticipation in her bright eyes. The Lin family members also looked at Yi Chun with hope. Yi Chun smiled and nodded at Lin Feier. Rest assured, I have already investigated your condition and found a solution. Upon hearing Yi Chun's words, Lin Feier's heart raced with excitement. She had never dared to imagine that her illness could be cured. Yi Chun, what you mentioned earlier about my divine body, what exactly is that? I've never cultivated a divine body before. Lin Feier finally spoke up to ask. Yi Chun looked at Lin Feier's delicate and beautiful face and replied, have you suddenly experienced outbreaks of cold poison in the past 2 years, with the condition worsening over time? Additionally, has a snow-colored leaf suddenly appeared within your body? Yi Chun, how do you know this? Lin Feier exclaimed in shock. Yi Chun flipped his palm, and a 9-transformation ice god pill appeared in his hand. When Lin Shan mentioned your cold poison, I specifically sought out a miraculous cure, the 9-transformation ice god pill. It can neutralize all cold poison arising from ice system divine arts. However, upon probing Zui Yan's divine soul earlier, I discovered why he targeted you. It turns out he had noticed your innate ice system divine body, the icy spirit mysterious body. This icy spirit mysterious body, if not actively cultivated, will eventually produce cold poison strong enough to claim the host's life. Only when fully cultivated can the cold poison be transformed into a usable force. Moreover, the unreleased life core of the icy spirit mysterious body, that snow-colored leaf within you, is an unparalleled material for refining treasures. That's why Zui Yan had planned to seize you and extract your life core. Had he succeeded, not only would you have perished, but he could have refined the life core into a supreme-grade ultimate heavenly artifact. But don't worry now. I have figured out a way to incorporate your divine body into cultivation. Once you begin, you will be safe. As he spoke, Yi Chun flipped his palm again, and a blank jade token appeared in his hand. Holding the token to his forehead, he imbued it with the cultivation method for the icy spirit mysterious body. Yichun had learned this cultivation method from Xiaojiu. Xiaojiu's knowledge transfer from Lord Emperor Yan contained detailed records regarding the icy spirit mysterious body. While Yichun inscribed the method into the jade token, the Lin family members, including Lin Feier, were utterly astonished. They had never realized that Lin Feier's illness stemmed from her innate divine body. They had been entirely unaware of her divine body all this time. Now they understood why Zui Yan had attacked so suddenly. Zui Yan had been trying to use the icy spirit mysterious body to refine a supreme-grade ultimate heavenly artifact. My heavens! A life core from a divine body capable of being refined into such an artifact was unimaginable in its potency. The Lin family members knew well what an ultimate heavenly artifact represented, something that countless high-level sovereigns lacked. A life core capable of refining such a treasure clearly signified the sheer greatness of this divine body. Luckily, Yichun had stated that cultivating the divine body would make its life core unusable for treasure refining. Otherwise, the Lin family would forever worry about others coveting Lin Feier's icy spirit mysterious body. At this moment, Lin Feier, seeing Yichun inscribing the cultivation method for her, felt deeply grateful. Thankfully, Yichun not only found the method to treat my illness, but also helped me resolve the plight of my divine body, and even gave me a new path for cultivation. How extraordinary he is! How does he possess such vast knowledge, even understanding how to cultivate the icy spirit mysterious body? Something I didn't even know about myself. As Lin Feier marveled, Yichun finished engraving the cultivation method. He removed the jade token from his forehead and handed it to Lin Feier. Along with it, he also gave her the 9 transformation ice god pill. Take this pill first. Though your cold poison stems from the divine body, this item will help neutralize it and facilitate your cultivation. This will also provide an opportunity for you to immediately integrate your life core into your body, ensuring no one else will covet it in the future. Yichun explained. Fully trusting Yichun, Lin Feier took the jade token and studied the cultivation method. 1 tea's time later, she swallowed the 9 transformation ice god pill and began to integrate her life core and initiate the cultivation process for the icy spirit mysterious body. Seeing Lin Feier wholly absorbed in cultivation, Yichun finally felt relieved. At this moment, Yichun suddenly heard a commotion outside. When Yichun extended his divine sense outward, he saw countless martial artists in Frost God City's void heaven with their mouths agape, staring at a particular void. Yichun also saw 8 powerful sovereigns suddenly materialize in that void. As his divine sense scanned the 8 sovereigns, they seemed to sense him as well, offering him a faint smile. The leading white-robed 9-star sovereign even called out to him, "Young God King, your character is commendable to recognize the secret of the icy spirit mysterious body, and refrain from seizing the life core. Instead, you helped that young girl cultivate it. So, young friend, would you be interested in sharing a drink with the 8 of us?" Chapter 952 Warning. What do you think, young friend? Would you be interested in sharing a drink with the 8 of us? The words of the white-robed 9-star sovereign echoed from the void, reverberating in all directions and landing in Yichun's ears. At this moment, countless martial artists in Frost God City, along with the members of the Lin family who had been startled out of their quarters, were utterly shocked to the core. They had never imagined that such a seemingly ordinary divine city would see the appearance of 8 sovereigns. And these were not ordinary sovereigns either. Among the 8, 2 were 9-star sovereigns, 4 were 8-star sovereigns, and 2 were 7-star sovereigns. A lineup of such high-ranking sovereigns appearing not just in Frost God City but even in the capital of any divine kingdom would undoubtedly cause an uproar. What astonished these people even more was that these 8 sovereigns had personally extended an invitation to Yichun. Earlier, everyone had already discerned Yichun's extraordinary nature, but they never expected that this remarkable god-king youth would attract 8 such sovereigns, and that they would treat him with such respect. Lord Yichun, At this moment, the members of the Lin family turned their anxious gazes toward Yichun. Although they could see that the 8 sovereigns harbored no apparent hostility toward Yichun, the mere presence of such high-ranking beings still filled them with dread. Meanwhile, Yichun, who was the focus of the 8 sovereigns' attention, felt a twinge of shock himself. He had not expected that during the short span in which he was treating Lin Feier, 8 high-ranking sovereigns would descend upon Frost God City. Of course, Yichun was no stranger to such encounters. Back when he visited Heavenly God Mountain, he once ran into leading sovereigns from 5 different divine kingdoms. At that time, there had been even more 8-star and 9-star sovereigns assembled than there were now, and Yichun hadn't been intimidated then. He certainly wouldn't be now. Glancing back at Lin Feier, immersed in cultivating her innate divine body, with her senses closed and undisturbed, Yichun gave a slight nod. Then, turning to the members of the Lin family, he offered them a gentle smile. With that, Yichun stepped out of the Lin mansion, taking a single stride into the void, moving toward the 8 sovereigns. With such an invitation from the 8 esteemed seniors, how could Yichun possibly decline? Greeting the 8 sovereigns with a cupped fist salute, Yichun's tone was respectful, yet his demeanor remained composed. Seeing Yichun's calm and collected expression, the 8 sovereigns exchanged glances and nodded with smiles. Impressive. Truly, a hero emerges in his youth. Even his bearing alone is unparalleled among the god kings we've seen. As Yichun stepped forward to stand before the 8 sovereigns, they waved their sleeves, and in the void suddenly appeared a large round table and 9 stone stools. One of the sovereigns, clad in blue, made a simple gesture, and a treasure shaped like a basket appeared in his hand. The blue-robed sovereign retrieved an assortment of fine food and wine from the basket, placing them upon the round table. These 8 sovereigns had indeed prepared a banquet for Yichun in midair. Young friend, let me first introduce you to the company. This here is Sovereign Li. You may address him as Elder Taiguai. After seating Yichun at the round table, the white-robed 9-star sovereign began introducing the other 7 sovereigns. He began with an elderly 9-star sovereign leaning on a cane and carrying a wine gourd on his back. He then moved on to introduce the remaining 6. This is Sovereign Chao, this is Sovereign Zhang, and this one here responsible for the spread is Sovereign Lan. And this lady here is Sovereign He. Finally, he introduced himself. You may call me Immortal Lu, or Sovereign Lu, as you wish. Seniors Lu, Taiguai Chao. Yichun cupped his fists again toward the 8 sovereigns. Might I ask what task the 8 seniors wish to entrust to this junior? Sovereign Taiguai Li chuckled heartily. Let's discuss it over drinks. Sovereign He also smiled. Sovereign Lan has brought out his treasured divine food jade liquor. And I, too, have a few lotus pods gathered from the cave heaven lotus pond. Young friend, why not give them a try? With that, Sovereign He presented 3 clusters of lotus pods. Yichun noticed that each lotus seed within the pods emanated a faint divine brilliance. It was clearly no ordinary item. As Yichun consumed a seed, he immediately felt a surge of powerful origin energy flooding into his entire body. Although this origin energy didn't quite match the crystal spirit fine wine he'd once drunk from Sovereign Feng Xian on Heavenly God Mountain, nor did it approach the divine light and liquid from the divine transformation pool at the mountain's exit, it was still unquestionably a rare treasure of great value among sovereigns. Yichun hadn't expected that Sovereign He, a complete stranger, would willingly share such a precious item with him. Drinking the jade liquor provided by Sovereign Lan and sampling the divine foods on the table, Yichun felt a warm and potent energy flow into his physical body, nourishing his divine body with care. The offerings from Sovereign Lan, too, were undoubtedly extraordinary. While Yichun was savoring the food and drink, the 8 sovereigns finally revealed the reason for inviting him. Young friend, the 8 of us hail from the heavenly splendor divine kingdom. Bound by a common love for travel, we roam the cosmos pursuing adventures and training. We chanced upon the sword-killing formation you set up and were drawn here to meet its creator. Might we ask, young friend, which school you belong to? Are you by chance a native of Black Dragon Mountain Divine Kingdom? Yi Chun finally understood why the 8 sovereigns had come after hearing this question. He glanced at the Thousand Swords killing formation he had established outside the Lin family's grounds. So the 8 seniors were drawn here by that sword-killing formation. Yi Chun suspected that it was the techniques he had learned from Huyen Divine Master, mysterious spirit Thousand Sword skills, that had caught their eyes. This junior, Yi Chun, is not from Black Dragon Mountain Divine Kingdom. I am a disciple of the Supreme Divine Institute of Wanmu Mountain Divine Kingdom. I passed through here while fulfilling a companion's request. When Yi Chun mentioned that he was from Wanmu Mountain Divine Kingdom's Supreme Divine Institute, Sovereign He's eyes lit up as she asked him, "Could it be that young friend Yi Chun has just returned from Heavenly God Mountain? How did Senior know I have just come from Heavenly God Mountain?" Yi Chun was taken aback. Sovereign He's expression shifted with astonishment upon hearing Yi Chun's response. "Not long ago, the 8 of us concluded an expedition to Chenjua Divine Kingdom. While visiting an old friend, I encountered his disciple Hua Shuolian, who had just returned from Heavenly God Mountain. I heard much about recent events there, and your name came up repeatedly. To think you are indeed the Yi Chun that Hua Shuolian so greatly praised. Word has it that you were the first God King to complete all the trials at Heavenly God Mountain and step into the legendary first divine transformation pool." Sovereign He marveled, her admiration evident. "Hua Shuolian? I didn't expect Senior to be acquainted with Hua Shuolian," Yi Chun remarked, somewhat surprised. At this moment, Sovereign Lu asked, "Could it be that young friend Yi Chun left Wanmu Mountain Divine Kingdom right after returning from Heavenly God Mountain? Do you have important matters to attend to, or is this journey purely coincidental?" Yi Chun's heart stirred at these words. The 8 sovereigns traveled across the cosmos and might have visited the True Spirit Divine Kingdom. Yi Chun knew little about the True Spirit Divine Kingdom. Aside from some leads regarding General Insha provided by Huyen Divine Master, his understanding was limited. After all, Huyen Divine Master had been isolated for millennia, and the True Spirit Divine Kingdom may have undergone significant changes in that time. As he intended to journey there, Yi Chun thought it prudent to gather as much information as possible from these sovereigns. Though he couldn't disclose his mission for Huyen Divine Master, there was no harm in inquiring about the True Spirit Divine Kingdom. Taking a deep breath, Yi Chun said to the 8 sovereigns, "This junior has departed Wanmu Mountain Divine Kingdom to travel to the True Spirit Divine Kingdom. My stop here at Black Dragon Mountain Divine Kingdom is merely a stopover. Seniors, given your extensive travels, might you have visited the True Spirit Divine Kingdom? You're heading for the True Spirit Divine Kingdom?" The 8 sovereigns clearly hadn't anticipated that Yi Chun's destination was the True Spirit Divine Kingdom. "We have indeed visited the True Spirit Divine Kingdom, spending several decades there some 500 years ago," Sovereign Lu said, his expression turning solemn. "Young friend Yi Chun, the True Spirit Divine Kingdom is far more powerful than Wanmu Mountain, and even our Heavenly Splendor Divine Kingdom. In the vast cosmos, the True Spirit Divine Kingdom ranks among the top 20. Moreover, it is fraught with peril. Comprising countless True Spirit Sacred Beast clans, the kingdom is rife with danger. Though you are formidable, as a mere God King, you may risk total annihilation with the slightest misstep." Yi Chun's countenance grew gravely serious upon hearing Sovereign Lu's warning. He had long known that the True Spirit Divine Kingdom was incredibly powerful. Huyen Divine Master and General Long Shao had both remarked upon its strength, noting that its vast number of True Spirit Sacred Beast clans hosted a population of sovereigns that dwarfed Wanmu Mountain Divine Kingdoms by dozens of times. The number of high-ranking sovereigns there was also significantly greater. Yi Chun also recalled reading about the True Spirit Divine Kingdom in the Heavenly Spirit rankings of the 5th floor of the Stars Tower. The kingdom's 5 major True Spirit Sacred Beast clans, the Bloodwing Clan, 9 Flames Clan, Wind God Clan, Extreme Spirit Clan, and 10,000 Blades Clan, all ranked atop the Heavenly Spirit rankings as Supreme Elite clans. For one kingdom to host 5 such elite clans underscored its tremendous strength. The General Insha Yi Chun sought belonged to one of these clans, the Extreme Spirit Clan. Still, despite knowing how treacherous the True Spirit Divine Kingdom was, Yichun had no choice but to brave it. After all, the curse left by Huyen Divine Master remained upon him. To lift it, Yichun had to fulfill the Divine Master's final wish. Seniors, could you share specifics about the true Spirit Divine Kingdom with this junior? Yichun took a deep breath and earnestly inquired of the 8 sovereigns. Sovereign, he spoke up first. Let me tell you a bit about the true Spirit Divine Kingdom, young friend Yichun. This kingdom differs greatly from others. While it's still possible to use the teleportation star formation to travel into its capital from other kingdoms, moving between the regions within the true Spirit Divine Kingdom is completely different. Unlike many other kingdoms, you cannot rely on regional teleportation divine arrays to traverse its various locales. To venture anywhere within the true Spirit Divine Kingdom, one must traverse the regions by flight, step by arduous step. But these regions are rife with dangers. Even the 8 of us encountered numerous crises during our attempt to pass through the entire kingdom. Young friend Yichun, if you truly must go to the true Spirit Divine Kingdom, I advise you to remain within the capital's bounds. Avoid crossing deeper into its territories, for the dangers you may face are beyond comprehension. Chapter 953- True Spirit Illustrated Handbook and the Mystery of the 8 Immortals. Upon hearing the words of Sovereign Yichun's expression shifted drastically. His journey to the true Spirit Divine Kingdom required venturing into the Extreme Spirit Sea territory occupied by the Extreme Spirit Clan. According to Huyen Divine Master, the Extreme Spirit Sea lies in the southern region of the true Spirit Divine Kingdom, incredibly distant from the kingdom's capital. It was clear Yichun could not simply remain within the capital's limits. No wonder Huyen Divine Master said that to fulfill his wish and travel to the Extreme Spirit Sea would take at least 1 or 2 years. I didn't expect it to be so complicated just to get from the capital of True Spirit Divine Kingdom to the Extreme Spirit Sea. Sovereign He's words made Yichun increasingly wary of his expedition to the true Spirit Divine Kingdom. However, Yichun would never give up on his search for General Insha simply because of Sovereign He's warning. Although Yichun could discern from the expressions of the 8 revered masters that his journey to the true Spirit Divine Kingdom would not be straightforward, he was also not in any hurry to rush to the Extreme Spirit Sea in 10 or 15 days, nor to hastily traverse the true Spirit Divine Kingdom. The true Spirit Divine Kingdom surely has countless martial artists roaming its 4 corners. As long as people are wandering, it means that, despite dangers, death is not an absolute certainty. Moreover, Yichun was no ordinary individual. Not only did he possess combat power far beyond his realm, but more importantly, he also had countless trump cards. These trump cards had helped him pass through countless crises and would undoubtedly prove useful again. Yichun believed he could successfully pass the final test of the 3 mysterious gates of life and death, set by Huyen Divine Master. He was convinced he could resolve the crisis posed by the curse power. Previously, Yichun had smoothly overcome the first 2 gates of the 3 mysterious gates of life and death. Whether it was the first gate, the cursor selection test in the 3 ice coffins guarded by General Long Shao, or the second gate, battling the combat doll left by General Insha within the Dead Star's primary tomb, Yichun had passed them both without fail. Yichun was determined not to stumble at the final gate of fulfilling Huyen Divine Master's wish in the true Spirit Divine Kingdom. No matter what, I will go to the Extreme Spirit Sea and find General Insha. No matter how challenging it may be, no matter how many regions of the true Spirit Divine Kingdom I must cross, I will succeed. Yichun resolved firmly in his heart. From his initial shock to his resolute determination, Yichun's transformation was fully seen by the 8 revered masters. The 8 revered masters knew Yichun was unlikely to give up his journey to the true Spirit Divine Kingdom, and would undoubtedly continue to explore its depths. It seems our young friend Yichun is still intent on venturing into the true Spirit Divine Kingdom, Sovereign Lu remarked. Yichun nodded. Esteemed seniors, I must make this journey to the true Spirit Divine Kingdom. As for the reason, please forgive me for not being able to disclose it. Huyen Divine Master had expressly instructed Yi Chun not to reveal the matter to others to avoid drawing unnecessary attention from other masters and escalating conflicts. Thus, Yi Chun refrained from further explanation. The 8 revered masters nodded, expressing their understanding. Sovereign Li, leaning on his iron cane, spoke. Our meeting with young friend Yi Chun is, in itself, a stroke of destiny. Since young friend insists on visiting the true spirit divine kingdom, while we cannot aid you in other matters, we can at least provide you with a map of the true spirit divine kingdom. Indeed, the other masters chimed in. Li's suggestion is excellent. All of us have traveled within the true spirit divine kingdom for decades. Although we haven't entered certain forbidden areas or major clans, we've essentially explored its vast expanse. We can mark some details on a map for young friend Yi Chun. Sovereign, he smiled and said, then let Brother Li take the lead in drafting the map, and the rest of us will contribute annotations. Agreed. Agreed. Sovereign Lu, Sovereign Chao, Sovereign Lan, and others nodded in agreement, smiling. Sovereign Li, leaning on his iron cane, let out a soft chuckle. With a wave of his hand, a jade token appeared in mid-air. As he tapped it lightly with his cane, countless threads of divine sense surged into the jade token, beginning to outline the various territories of the true spirit divine kingdom from his memory. The true spirit divine kingdom was an unimaginably vast realm. Even though Sovereign Li was a 9-star sovereign with incredibly formidable divine sense, merely drafting the initial map took over an hour. Subsequently, the other 7 masters each took turns adding their annotations, highlighting matters they felt Yi Chun should be cautious of. Watching the 8 revered masters labor on his behalf, Yi Chun was deeply moved. Despite being strangers, their willingness to assist him left a profound impression of gratitude in his heart. The 8 revered masters. Their appearance resembles the depictions of the 8 immortals from the mythologies of Earth, before I was transported by the Stars Tower to the barbaric wilderness continent. Even their surnames are inexplicably similar. Could it be that they are connected to those legends? Or perhaps they once traveled to Earth's timespace and left behind the origins of those myths. Since his first encounter with the 8 revered masters, Yi Chun had always harbored this question. Seeing their tireless efforts at that moment reignited his thoughts about the 8 immortals' legends. If the 8 revered masters had truly visited Earth, perhaps one day I could return to my homeland. Yi Chun's heart was stirred with emotion, yet he sensed that the truth might be far more complex. Despite his immense strength and ability to traverse countless divine nations and stellar continents, Yi Chun was still unable to comprehend the colossal power required to transport his divine soul to an entirely new world. Even after obtaining the star chart gifted by Huyen Divine Master, Yi Chun had scoured its intricate patterns, yet Earth remained absent from its stellar markings. Yi Chun speculated that the secrets surrounding him, along with those of the Stars Tower and Earth, might only be revealed when he met ZG Star Lord. Once the 8 revered masters finished drafting the map of the true spirit divine kingdom, I should seize the opportunity to ask them more questions. Yi Chun was deep in thought. Nearly 2 hours later, the last of the 8 revered masters, Sovereign Lan, finally completed the annotations. The true spirit divine kingdom map, Jade Token, was officially handed to Yi Chun. Young friend Yi Chun, keep this map safely. Although it doesn't encompass everything about the true spirit divine kingdom, it's a decent overview with general markings. It should prove useful once you set foot there. The 8 revered masters spoke to Yi Chun with warm smiles. Accepting the Jade Token, Yi Chun rose from his seat beside the round table and gave a deep bow to the 8 revered masters. Esteemed seniors, your assistance has been a tremendous boon to me. I will forever be grateful. After the 8 revered masters waved off his thanks with smiles, Yi Chun infused his divine sense into the true spirit divine kingdom map, Jade Token. The moment he connected with it, Yi Chun was left astonished. The true spirit divine kingdom was unimaginably vast. Its stellar continents were innumerable, akin to celestial bodies scattered across the heavens. Even the simplest markings in the map encapsulated an expansive region within the Jade Token's spatial void. Yichun followed the map's journey, tracing the path from the true Spirit Divine Kingdom, capital, to the extreme Spirit Sea. Along the way, Yichun noted 3 of the kingdom's 8 deadly forbidden lands, 2 of its 9 holy mountains. He also saw countless clans of true spirit sacred beasts dwelling throughout the kingdom. Most significantly, Yichun observed various cautions and reminders left by the 8 revered masters. It was a long time before Yichun finally put away the true Spirit Divine Kingdom map Jade Token. With this map in hand, he could foresee and evade calamities in advance, saving himself a great deal of trouble. When Yichun finished storing the Jade Token, the 8 revered masters invited him to share another round of drinks. After a few more cups of wine, Yichun finally couldn't help but ask the 8 revered masters a question. Esteemed seniors, in your travels across the universe, have you ever visited a place called Earth? It's a planet inhabited by ordinary mortals rather than martial artists. Earth? A planet of mortals? Upon hearing Yichun's question, the 8 revered masters appeared momentarily puzzled. Soon after, they collectively shook their heads. In our travels across this universe, we've primarily visited planets of cultivation. We've yet to encounter a mortal planet or a place named Earth. Their response brought a sigh of disappointment to Yichun's heart. As expected, the 8 revered masters, like the absence of Earth from Huyen Divine Master's star chart, had no knowledge of the planet's existence. Perhaps the 8 revered masters inadvertently left behind some tales or texts in certain places, which, through the flow of time, were carried to Earth, giving rise to mythologies. Or perhaps Earth has an alternate aspect, far surpassing its mere thousands of years of recorded history. As with the Star's Tower, left behind by ZG Star Lord under the Antarctic Glacier, such mysteries may exist unbeknownst even to the 8 revered masters, who might have unknowingly passed by Earth without realizing it was a planet of mortals. Yichun pondered deeply. Ultimately, it seems only when I meet ZG Star Lord will I uncover the full truth. Though his questions remained unresolved, Yichun decided to put these thoughts aside. All would become clear once he grew stronger. The universe's boundlessness, the world's mysteries, still awaited Yichun's continuous exploration. Yichun and the 8 revered masters spent nearly 2 hours together, conversing and inscribing the true Spirit Divine Kingdom map. During this time, martial artists from Frost God City had remained outside, observing the actions of Yichun and the 8 revered masters from a distance. For figures of this caliber, such a gathering was entirely unprecedented in Frost God City. Their curiosity was inevitable. Just as Yichun and the 8 revered masters' banquet neared its conclusion, an extraordinary icy light beam suddenly erupted from the direction of the Lin Mansion. Spotting the pillar-shaped crystalline light soaring skywards, Yichun's gaze sharpened. The 8 revered masters exchanged knowing smiles. It seems that young girl has successfully fused the life core of her ice spirit mysterious body. Sovereign, he stood up first, her expression joyous. Let's go take a look at that girl. The ice spirit mysterious body is exceedingly rare, and I might just consider accepting her as a disciple. Chapter 954- Recruitment. The 8 sovereigns and Yichun all flew into the Lin Mansion. Upon seeing this scene, countless martial artists from the families of Frost God City were filled with extreme envy toward the Lin family. The Lin family has latched onto the leg of Yichun, the Divine King. Because of Divine King Yichun, they've now drawn the attention of 8 high-ranking sovereigns. From now on, I dare say no family in Frost God City will dare provoke the Lin family lightly. Amid the whispers of the crowd, inside the Lin Mansion, Lin Feier, who had been cultivating for a long time, finally opened her eyes. When she saw Yichun, Lin Feier excitedly exclaimed, "Brother Yichun, I succeeded." But when her gaze landed on the 8 high-ranking sovereigns beside Yichun, Lin Feier was startled and asked, "Brother Yichun, who are they?" At that moment, Sovereign he smiled gently at Lin Feier and said, "Young girl, would you be willing to take me as your master?" An hour later, The 8 sovereigns flew out of the Lin mansion, each of them wearing a smile. Moments later, they merged into the void and disappeared entirely. A while later, Yichun also emerged from the Lin mansion, surrounded by Lin family members. At this moment, the Lin family members were utterly consumed by joy. They never imagined that not only would Lin Feier be fully cured by Yichun, but she would also awaken the innate divine body they hadn't known she possessed. Moreover, just now, the 8-star female sovereign had even accepted Lin Feier as her disciple and specifically left behind numerous cultivation manuals and treasures for Lin Feier and the Lin family. The Lin family members all understood one thing. Everything they now had was brought to them by Yichun. Though Lin Shan remained trapped and perished within the heavenly god mountain, the arrival of Yichun brought a glimmer of hope for the rise of the Lin family. Now, hearing that Yichun planned to leave after the departure of the 8 sovereigns, the Lin family was filled with both gratitude and reluctance. Brother Yichun, where are you going? Lin Feier, more than anyone else, couldn't bear to part with Yichun. The young girl knew that her very life had been saved by Yichun. Her fate had been altered all because of him. If not for Yichun stating that he had matters requiring him to travel alone, Lin Feier would have wanted to stay by his side to cultivate. Looking at the young girl's reluctant gaze and the grateful eyes of the Lin family members, Yichun softly chuckled and said, "Feier, my friends, there's no need to see me off. I shall now set out for another divine kingdom. If fate wills it, we will meet again." Without another word, Yichun waved to the Lin family members, his figure moving instantly, darting straight into the void. In the next moment, he vanished entirely from Frost God City. Long after Yichun's departure, the Lin family continued to stand outside the mansion. Lin Feier stared after Yichun's disappearing figure and murmured, "Brother Yichun, we will meet again. I will diligently cultivate, using the methods you've passed on to me and those taught by my master. When I grow stronger, I will seek out my brother and, above all, find you, Brother Yichun." Determination surged in the young girl's eyes, exuding an unshakable resolve. As he reached the heights of polar heaven, Yichun looked back one last time at Frost God City before turning his gaze to the distant horizon. The matter entrusted to me by Lin Shan has finally reached its perfect conclusion. Next, it's time to head to the 10,000 Beasts domain to check on whether Jiang Yao and Long Li have emerged from the Zishuan treasure palace. And after that, I'll proceed to the True Spirit Divine Kingdom. As he spoke, Yichun glanced at the True Spirit Atlas, given to him by the 8 sovereigns, his fist clenching tightly. Haotian Divine City is the capital of the True Spirit Divine Kingdom and its most majestic giant city. The entirety of Haotian Divine City occupies an unfathomably vast stretch of the star continent, with countless towering spires and soaring stone statues. These stone statues depict figures with extraordinary characteristics, some bearing divine wings, others wreathed in perpetual flames, and still others of monstrous size, radiating bloodlight. Each figure immortalized here is a renowned historical legend of the True Spirit Divine Kingdom. The martial artists within Haotian Divine City number in the tens of billions. Among them, the numbers of god kings, divine venerates, and sovereigns far surpass those of any divine city within the Wanmu Mountain divine nation. On this day, outside a massive mansion located in the southwestern area of Haotian Divine City, the atmosphere was lively and charged. Looking up at the signboard above the mansion's gate, for grand characters gleaming with divine brilliance came into view, 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion. At that moment, tens of thousands of martial artists jostled outside the Medicine Pavilion's estate. These martial artists, at minimum, were at the God King realm, with some even reaching the realm of the immortal Divine Venerable. Among them, an elderly man clad in yellow robes, exuding the aura of a heavenly divine venerate, stood at the center of attention. The elderly man raised his voice and said, "Everyone, please don't crowd. Please don't push. Today marks our annual recruitment day at the 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion. Everyone has the chance to join our herbal procurement team, but it all depends on your abilities." Hearing the elderly man's words, One of the martial artists immediately shouted. We heard that this year the Medicine Pavilion plans to venture into regions like the Nine Lotus Holy Mountain to gather spiritual herbs. Is that true, Steward Huang? Steward Huang nodded and replied, Indeed, not only will we head to the Nine Lotus Holy Mountain this time, but the young mistress herself will personally lead the team. At the mention of young mistress, many of the younger martial artists among the crowd grew visibly excited. The young mistress is finally leading the team to gather divine medicine again? I heard that last time, the young mistress managed to collect a heaven spirit Torma divine flower from the Wushuan Holy Mountain and used it to cure a high-ranking sovereign. If the young mistress is leading, I absolutely have to join. It just so happens that I, too, am headed toward the Nine Lotus Holy Mountain. Following the Medicine Pavilion will undoubtedly be the safest option. Another voice rang out eagerly, What level of combat power is required to participate in this year's recruitment? Steward Huang, please announce it quickly. We're all waiting to begin the selection process and secure our spots. Amid the clamoring crowd, Steward Huang chuckled loudly. The 8 regions we'll be venturing into for herb collection this time are not especially dangerous. And with the young mistress leading, the requirements aren't too stringent. As long as your combat power meets the Heavenly Divine Venerate level, you'll have a chance to qualify. I will be conducting the preliminary selection here. However, the final decision will still rest with the young mistress herself. For the preliminary test, it's quite simple. If you can defeat the Heavenly Divine Venerate Black Flame Puppet from our Medicine Pavilion, you'll pass the first round. Now then, those interested, please form an orderly line and participate in the selection one by one. As soon as Steward Huang finished speaking, the chaotic crowd of tens of thousands began to rush forward, quickly forming a long queue. Toward the rear of the line, a young man gazed at the Medicine Pavilion's signboard before shifting his attention to the bustling crowd, nodding lightly to himself. It seems this Medicine Pavilion is indeed highly sought after. And as expected, they plan to head to the Nine Lotus Holy Mountain. The information I've gathered since arriving in the True Spirit Divine Kingdom's capital is indeed accurate. I intend to head to the Extreme Spirit Sea, and coincidentally, passing through the Nine Lotus Holy Mountain aligns perfectly with my route. Traveling alone in this unfamiliar divine kingdom would be immensely perilous, but joining the Medicine Pavilion's team offers a much safer alternative. As he turned his gaze to the young man, the figure was none other than Yi Chun, who had journeyed to the True Spirit Divine Kingdom to fulfill Huyan Divine Master's final wish of finding General Insha. After departing from Frost God City, Yi Chun had directly headed toward the 10,000 Beasts domain. Unfortunately, he still hadn't encountered Jiang Yao or Long Li during this visit. Thus, Yi Chun did not linger in the 10,000 Beasts domain. Spending countless teleportations and traversing nearly half the divine kingdoms in the cosmos, he finally arrived at the capital of the True Spirit Divine Kingdom, Haotian Divine City. Upon reaching the True Spirit Divine Kingdom's capital, Yi Chun refrained from hastily heading toward the Extreme Spirit Sea. He still remembered the words of caution from the 8 sovereigns resounding in his ears. Yi Chun wasn't about to act recklessly. He spent several days exploring the capital, familiarizing himself with the people and environment of the True Spirit Divine Kingdom while gathering intelligence and searching for the safest means to reach the Extreme Spirit Sea. During this time, Yi Chun learned about the Medicine Pavilion. The Medicine Pavilion was renowned throughout the True Spirit Divine Kingdom, with branches spread across the land. It was said that the pavilion's master was a formidable practitioner who had reached the 9-star sovereign realm. Moreover, the core members of the Medicine Pavilion were comprised of the True Spirit Sacred Beasts of the Nine Flames clan, one of the 5 high-ranking life clans of the True Spirit Divine Kingdom. Their reputation was unparalleled within the kingdom. Every year, the Medicine Pavilion dispatched teams to various mysterious regions within the kingdom to gather divine medicine. These teams included both their own members and recruited martial artists from outside. For the Medicine Pavilion, this was a way to harness additional manpower for herb collection. For martial artists, the Medicine Pavilion offered generous rewards. Moreover, as their teams were known for their safety, Many martial artists headed to other destinations would opt to join them temporarily. Upon reaching their desired location, they could part ways with the team. As such, the Medicine Pavilion's annual recruitment events were always incredibly popular. Martial artists seeking the pavilion's lucrative rewards, or those planning to travel toward its collection sites, would flock to these recruitment events. Upon hearing about the Medicine Pavilion, Yi-chun became intrigued, particularly after learning that the 8 regions they planned to explore this time were all situated in a southerly direction from the capital, en route to the Extreme Spirit Sea, where General Insha of the Extreme Spirit Clan awaited. Yi-chun resolved to accompany them. The 9 Lotus Holy Mountain is situated about a third of the way between the kingdom's capital and the Extreme Spirit Sea. If I can travel with the Medicine Pavilion's team to the 9 Lotus Holy Mountain, I'll have completed a significant portion of my journey in one go. The recruitment requirement this time is Heavenly Divine Venerate level combat power? That shouldn't be a problem. He murmured to himself as he waited in line. While Yi-chun queued, deliberating his plans, the recruitment selection ahead of him had already begun. Yi-chun's gaze landed on the combat puppet deployed by the Medicine Pavilion for their selection process, a humanoid black puppet. Facing off against it was a martial artist over 2 meters tall, with scales covering large sections of his head. As the black puppet began its battle with the recruit, Yi-chun's eyes lit up. The Heavenly Divine Venerate Grade black puppet erupted into roaring black flames during the fight. The opposing martial artist shouted, his body growing several meters taller. His exposed skin became entirely covered in scales, leaving only his eyes visible. In his hands, he wielded 2 fish-shaped halberds that gleamed with piercing light. So this is one of the true spirit sacred beasts of the true spirit divine kingdom. Their combat transformations are utterly distinct from the martial artists of the Wanmu Mountain Divine Nation. Yi-chun watched with fascination as the battle unfolded. Chapter 955- Challenge. The black puppet at the Heavenly Divine Venerable level originally possessed combat power equivalent to that of a lower Heavenly Divine Venerable. However, when its entire body was consumed by fiercely burning black flames, its combat power instantly rose to the level of a mid-tier Heavenly Divine Venerable. Even more terrifying was that the black flames seemed to enhance its speed significantly. In an almost instantaneous flash, the black puppet appeared right before the opposing martial artist. Its fiery hands reached out, blazing with intense flames, for the martial artist. The martial artist, whose entire body was covered in scales, was originally quite formidable, possessing the power of a lower Heavenly Divine Venerable. However, against the black puppet, whose combat power surged so dramatically, he quickly fell to a disadvantage. The scaled martial artist hastily raised his hands to block with 2 fish-shaped treasures gleaming with icy brilliance. But the black flames on the puppet's hands instantly spread onto the fish-shaped treasures. Then, a shocking event occurred. The fish-shaped treasures, clearly of a high-grade mysterious Heavenly Divine artifact level, were burned into nothingness by the black flames in mere moments. This sight caused the scaled martial artist to truly lose his composure and panic in both mind and spirit. He staggered backward in desperation, retreating a few steps, but the black puppet immediately lunged forward again with a claw-like grasp, catching the martial artist entirely in its hands and spinning him around fiercely. The martial artist was flung dozens of meters away, crashing heavily onto the ground outside of the combat circle, resulting in his failure in the recruitment selection battle. Even after his defeat, the scaled martial artist remained covered in the black flames. The fire seemed to spread further, threatening to consume him completely and reduce him to ashes in an instant. A yellow-robed elder, a recruiter, flashed to the martial artist's side, extending his large hand which erupted with green flames. With a gentle sweep, the black flames on the martial artist were completely extinguished. I've lost. The 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion, under the dominance of the 9 Flames clan among the 5 supreme clans, is indeed formidable. After his defeat, the scaled martial artist stood dazed in lingering fear for a while before finally rising and clasping his fists toward the yellow-robed elder, speaking loudly. A wave of chatter instantly broke out among the crowd. This puppet was definitely refined by a master from the Nine Flames clan. The flames on its body must surely be one of the divine flames cultivated by them. Without the power of a mid-tier heavenly divine venerable, there's no way to defeat it. Amid the discussion, many divine kings and lower heavenly divine venerables displayed signs of hesitation and trepidation. Only the immortal divine venerables and superior heavenly divine venerables managed to remain composed. Meanwhile, Yi Chun, who had been watching the battle closely, focused on the black flames enveloping the puppet and the green flames unleashed by the yellow-robed elder. His mind stirred. These two kinds of flames are truly peculiar. They feel so different from my natural-born blue extreme ice flame, as if they were cultivated artificially. Could it be that the Nine Flames clan has the ability to cultivate countless divine flames after birth? Artificially cultivated flames with such power? It rivals even some top-grade mysterious heavenly divine artifacts. Yi Chun grew increasingly intrigued by the Nine Flames clan, the second-ranked advanced spirit clan in the True Spirit Divine Kingdom. The recruitment trials continued. Among the tens of thousands of martial artists present, many were deterred by the black puppet's sheer power, but there were still plenty willing to take up the challenge. The second challenger was a slender young girl. She possessed the combat strength of a mid-tier heavenly divine venerable, equivalent to that of the black puppet. As soon as she engaged in battle with the black puppet, a sudden transformation occurred. She morphed into a miraculous white mink-like divine beast. Even more astonishing was that this small white mink had a pair of white wings on its back. Yi Chun had never seen a divine beast of such form. What amazed Yi Chun even further was that, despite the black flames enhancing the puppet's speed to a phenomenal level, this winged mink's speed, once transformed, exceeded that of the black puppet. It sped through the combat circle like a streak of white lightning. The black puppet could not even approach the transformed young girl by a fraction. During the rapid pursuit and flashing movements, the white mink-like divine beast opened its mouth and spat out a golden, glowing sword. The sword struck repeatedly with sharp buzzes, slicing the black puppet into fragments in mere moments. From her initial strike to her ultimate victory over the black puppet, the young girl completed everything in less than 3 breaths. After leaping out of the combat circle, the girl reverted to her human form. She gave the yellow-robed elder a gentle smile and said, "Senior, have I passed the recruitment selection's initial stage?" The yellow-robed elder smiled as he nodded. The Wind Feather Mink tribe lives up to their reputation for extraordinary speed. The life-bound magic treasure you've refined is equally impressive. Since you've defeated my black flame puppet, you're certainly qualified to pass the preliminary selection. The yellow-robed elder gestured for her to step into the victor's area beside him. So she's from the Wind Feather Mink tribe. The Wind Feather Mink tribe may not rank amidst the 5 supreme clans, but they are undoubtedly one of the high-tier races within the True Spirit Divine Kingdom's countless species. I bet she hasn't even revealed all her innate divine abilities yet. The crowd burst into spirited discussion. Yi Chun, too, mused inwardly. True Spirit Divine Kingdom indeed surpasses Wanmu Mountain Divine Nation in terms of strength, with not only countless elites but also endless varieties of miraculous True Spirit Sacred Beast clans. My journey through the True Spirit Divine Kingdom promises to be an eye-opening experience. And indeed, it was thrilling and eye-opening. As the recruitment challenges continued, one challenger after another entered the fray. Though many suffered defeat, a significant number succeeded in clearing the preliminary selection stage. Throughout the battles, Yi Chun witnessed firsthand the stunning transformations and unique divine abilities of True Spirit Sacred Beast clans across the True Spirit Divine Kingdom. Of course, not all challengers hailed from the True Spirit Divine Kingdom. Quite a few, like Yi Chun, had traveled from other divine kingdoms to the True Spirit Divine Kingdom's capital city. Many of these challengers also excelled, successfully passing the recruitment trials. However, most of the warriors from other kingdoms were superior heavenly divine venerables or immortal divine venerables. Few, like Yi Chun, came as divine kings to venture into the True Spirit Divine Kingdom. If divine kings did arrive, it was often under the guidance of powerful elders, and ultimately most would face defeat in the recruitment selection. This outcome was hardly surprising. After all, crossing between divine kingdoms, whether through star seal teleportation or by traversing vast star domains, was typically achievable only by warriors of immense power. Weaker martial artists usually depended on senior guardians. Given such circumstances, their lack of adequate strength was understandable. As the recruitment tests progressed steadily, it was finally Yi Chen's turn to enter the battle arena. Chapter 956-. Keep a low profile. As Yi Chen stepped into the combat circle, Shua, countless gazes turned toward him. An upper god king? And so young. For someone at the god king realm to pass the middle heavenly divine venerable recruitment trial, it is extremely difficult. Among all the god kings who attempted earlier, only a dozen or so were true genius god kings possessing the combat power of a superior heavenly divine venerable or an upper immortal divine venerable, and they managed to pass the test. This person might not find it so easy to pass the recruitment selection. Did anyone notice? This god king isn't from the true spirit sacred beast race of the true spirit divine kingdom. He's human. I wonder which divine nation he came from to reach the true spirit divine kingdom. I don't know either. Let's see what methods he has. Numerous voices discussed as many scrutinizing eyes surveyed Yi Chen. Amidst all the chatter, Yi Chen's gaze was sharp as he stood in the combat circle and looked toward the yellow-robed elder. The yellow-robed elder didn't waste any words and directly activated the black puppet for the fight. The black puppet towered at over 3 zhang, several times taller than Yi Chen. Standing in front of this middle heavenly divine venerable level black puppet, Yi Chen became increasingly aware of the mystique surrounding the roaring black flames on the puppet. However, Yi Chen felt no panic in his heart. What a joke. Given Yi Chen's current combat power, tearing through upper immortal divine venerables would be effortless. Why would he fear a mere middle heavenly divine venerable level puppet? Forget heavenly divine venerable level. Not even immortal divine venerable level could harm him in the slightest. Everyone assumed Yi Chen had been brought to the true spirit divine kingdom by some immortal divine venerable or sovereign to broaden his horizons. But they didn't know Yi Chen had traversed half the universe by himself to reach the true spirit divine kingdom. At this moment, standing in the combat circle, Yi Chen was deliberating. Having just arrived at the true spirit divine kingdom and facing such a spectacle, he saw no need to genuinely reveal his full strength. Passing the recruitment test was sufficient. The rest could be handled discreetly. After all, the higher profile he maintained, the more attention he'd attract, which might bring a heap of troubles. The blue extreme ice flame cannot be used. Otherwise, it would easily burn the black puppet into nothingness. The origin slash, which uses starry origin power, is too overwhelming. It might attract the notice of the sovereign-level experts in the true spirit divine kingdom. The wind pattern divine power of the eternal god body. Defeating the black puppet with it would be overkill too. With scores of overpowering techniques at his disposal, Yi Chen pondered which relatively weaker method he should employ. If the martial artists in the arena knew Yi Chen's current thoughts, most of them would be utterly shocked. Many of them lacked even the ability to battle the black puppet. Yet Yi Chen was deliberating on which less than optimal method to use to make his move. After some thought, Yi Chen decided, I'll use the simplest foundational technique of the eternal god body, Earth Divine Pattern, and add to it some basic moves from the mysterious Spirit Thousand Sword skills. Yi Chen's contemplative expression was taken by the surrounding martial artists as fear upon facing the black puppet. Some burst into laughter, mocking, "Little God King, run away quickly. That black puppet is about to attack." As these voices rang out, the black puppet's blazing black flames surged outward. It lunged straight for Yi Chen. Watch out! Seeing this, several young ladies from the True Spirit Divine Kingdom cried out in alarm. These girls seemed genuinely worried about Yi Chen. After all, Yi Chen was imbued with a mysterious allure stemming from his repeated transformations of life origin. Coupled with his identity as a human, this naturally captured the attention of the True Spirit Divine Kingdom's maidens. Even the young true spirit sacred beast girl from the Wind Feather Mink clan, who had transformed into winged mink form and won her recruitment trial earlier, cast concerned glances toward Yi-chan. Yi-chen's attraction to so many young women made quite a few male martial artists from the true spirit divine kingdom jealous. Humph. Just a human with good looks. And he gets this much attention? Good looks mean nothing. Strength is what matters. I reckon he'll be eliminated in less than 10 seconds. These mocking remarks drew dissatisfied glances from the female martial artists, but they only made the men more bitter as they eagerly anticipated Yi-chen's defeat by the puppet. However, their expectations were swiftly dashed. Though Yi-chan seemed unimpressive, the black puppet struggled to get close to him as he continued to evade. 10 seconds passed. Yi-chan had not been eliminated. 30 seconds passed. Yi-chan appeared to have grasped the black puppet's movement patterns and even started countering it. After 50 seconds, Yi-chan summoned a flying sword, persistently striking at the black puppet. Finally, after a duration equivalent to 1 cup of tea, Yi-chan successfully slew the black puppet in the arena. He won. Many who had doubted Yi-chan hadn't anticipated this outcome. If Yi-chan had crushed the black puppet with overwhelming power, they might have begrudgingly accepted it. But they had clearly watched Yi-chan slowly wear down the puppet, and yet he passed the test. This left the martial artists who had hoped for his defeat somewhat resentful. Just sheer luck. This is only the initial recruitment test. When the young lady personally selects people, he'll certainly get eliminated. They could only console themselves this way. Meanwhile, several young female martial artists casting their attention toward Yi-chan secretly breathed sighs of relief. Pretty decent strength. For a god king to fight a middle heavenly divine venerable level puppet, he could be called talented. He's a human genius. Amid the varied reactions of the crowd, Yi-chan wiped his forehead, jumped out of the combat circle, and grinned at the yellow-robed elder. Senior, I've passed the initial recruitment test, haven't I? The yellow-robed elder, unable to discern Yi-chan's concealed strength, plainly saw him perform as though evenly matched with the black puppet. He nodded in response. Little one, you've passed. However, you must remain cautious. Even if you're ultimately selected to accompany our 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion to gather medicinal herbs, don't wander recklessly. It could endanger you. For a God King realm martial artist to possess middle heavenly divine venerable level combat power is commendable. But amidst the many dangers of the true spirit divine kingdom, this is still insufficient, so be vigilant. Yi-chan cupped his hands respectfully toward the yellow-robed elder. Rest assured, Junior will take care. With that, he moved to the victory circle under the elder's instructions. Yi-chan, this steward is rather kind, even showing concern for you. If he knew you didn't even use 10% of your combat strength to defeat the black puppet, that even defeating him, a superior heavenly divine venerable, would be effortless, he would be terrified. From the ice-snow jade pendant on Yi-chan's body, Xiaojiu's voice chimed in. Yi-chan smiled faintly and transmitted back to Xiaojiu. Low-key, low-key. After Yi-chan stepped into the victory circle, many eyes turned toward him. Of course, several exceptionally capable martial artists, those with immortal divine venerable level combat power, merely glanced at him with disdain before redirecting their attention to the ongoing trials. Yi-chan remained unbothered by their attitudes. His purpose was solely to blend into the 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion's team for smooth passage to the Nine Lotus Holy Mountain. Once there, he would devise plans to continue his journey to the extreme Spirit Sea. These individuals were mere fleeting acquaintances, and Yi-chan didn't care how they perceived him. Yet, though immortal divine venerable level martial artists might disdain Yi-chan, a number of heavenly divine venerable level martial artists showed curiosity toward him, especially several heavenly divine venerable level martial artists from other divine nations. A slightly plump youth squeezed his way to Yi-chan, striking up a conversation as if they were old friends. Fellow cultivator, which divine nation are you from? I'm from the Qi-Yu divine nation. My name is Kwang Meng. I'm an upper god king with the combat power to defeat superior heavenly divine venerables. In my divine nation, I'm considered the #1 God King. You must also be quite skilled. I'm guessing you could rank within the top 10 God Kings of your divine nation. Once we're selected for the 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion's herb gathering team, let's stick together. Yi-chun hadn't anticipated this overly friendly fat God King to say so much in a single breath. He smiled at Kwang Meng. My name is Yi-chun, and I'm from a very distant divine nation. Working together? Sounds good. Upon hearing Yi-chun's response, Kwang Meng gleefully patted his shoulder, confidently assuring him, Yi-chun, don't worry. When we travel together, I'll watch out for you. The 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion's herb gathering team is said to be quite safe. Just don't wander recklessly, and you'll have nothing to fear. I've even befriended a few other heavenly divine venerable fellow cultivators. Let's all stick together later. I'll introduce you to them. With that, Kwang Meng pulled Yi-chun to meet several other heavenly divine venerable martial artists in the victory circle. While Yi-chun and Kwang Meng engaged in conversation, the recruitment trials continued outside. After several more hours, all battles concluded. Among the tens of thousands of martial artists who had arrived, many God Kings opted to forego the test. Of the over 8,000 participants, only about 6,000 passed the initial recruitment trial. This time, we'll be recruiting 3,000 martial artists to join our 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion's team to collect divine medicine across the 8 regions. Next, those of you who passed the preliminary selection, follow me to meet the young lady. She will finalize the roster. After the results were confirmed, the yellow-robed elder addressed the victors in the circle. With that, he took the lead and guided the group toward the interior of the 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion. The young lady? It's rumored the 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion's young lady belongs to one of the true 5 major ancestor tribes, the 9 Flames clan. Her own power is said to be extraordinarily formidable. Though very young, only 21 or 22 years old, she has already achieved the Earth Divine Venerable realm. It's said her combat strength even rivals Middle Immortal Divine Venerables. Also, it's said the young lady is exceedingly beautiful. Numerous martial artists who had passed the initial test murmured among themselves. In the crowd, Yi-chun's intrigue was piqued. A genuine member of the 9 Flames clan? Does that mean the steward isn't? I wonder what a lady of the 9 Flames clan looks like.
Chapter 957. CAI Mengar on CAI CAR.
The 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion was incredibly vast, with pavilions and corridors scattered throughout, resembling a small city. The martial artists, including Yi-chun, who had passed the initial recruitment and selection, were led by an elder in yellow robes, winding through for quite some time, finally arriving at a cultivation courtyard within the 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion. This is our Refining Fire Pavilion, within the 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion. Our martial artists frequently train here. Please wait here for a moment while I invite the young lady to come over. After speaking, the elder in yellow robes walked out of the cultivation courtyard. At this time, the 6,000 martial artists who passed the initial test were curiously observing the cultivation courtyard. With this observation, the 6,000 martial artists were instantly shocked. These martial artists discovered at the corners of the cultivation courtyard numerous flames sealed within arrays, with such sealed flames numbering in the hundreds. More terrifyingly, these flames were all of different colors and shapes, and their quality had all reached the level of mystic heavenly level flames. So many mystic heavenly level flames? It's very difficult to collect even one cluster of flames. Yet in this cultivation courtyard alone, there are so many mystic heavenly level flames. Could these all be for the martial artists of the 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion to train with? Numerous martial artists were incredibly surprised. It was rumored that the core members of the 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion were clansmen from the true spirit sacred beast tribes of the 5 major supreme clans, particularly the 9 Flames clan. The 9 Flames clan was famous for their ability to control divine flames. These martial artists were astounded, realizing that if the flames for training alone were so numerous, One could only imagine how terrifying the actual collection of divine flames in the 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion was. Undoubtedly, not only mystic heavenly level flames, but even extreme heavenly level flames must exist within the 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion. At this moment, Yi-chun was also gazing at clusters of sealed flames in the corners of the cultivation courtyard. These flames, along with the black puppet and the flames on Steward Huang earlier, all seemed to be artificially cultivated. To reach such a level with artificially cultivated flames, the Nine Flames clan is really formidable. Moreover, I feel that within this 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion, no fewer than 10 clusters of extreme heavenly level flames are sealed. At this moment, in Yi Chen's Qi, his blue extreme ice flame was drifting gently. Relying solely on the blue extreme ice flame, he couldn't sense other extreme heavenly level flames. However, when Yi-chun ventured to explore the 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion, though there were powerful divine sense barrier arrays isolating outsiders' explorations, Yi-chun managed to clearly sense divine flame fluctuations similar to his blue extreme ice flame through his Tai divine power. The fluctuation of these divine flames was subtle, but Yi-chun could already feel that these divine flames were absolutely extreme heavenly level flames. No fewer than 10 clusters of extreme heavenly level flames. This was simply unimaginable. It's known that extreme heavenly objects are incredibly difficult to find, with naturally occurring extreme heavenly flames being extremely difficult to find, like the blue extreme ice flame, which Yi-chun only obtained half of after Longli discovered it. That the 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion actually held so many extreme heavenly level flames was truly shocking to Yi-chun. This gave Yi-chun a deeper understanding of the powerful true spirit divine kingdom. Just as many martial artists were discussing among themselves, and while Yi-chun was still in shock, a lively voice was heard coming from outside the cultivation courtyard. Are they in this courtyard? Yes, young Mississippi. Steward Huang's voice followed. Upon hearing these two voices, everyone knew that the young lady of the 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion had arrived. Swoosh! Instantly, the gazes of over 6,000 martial artists turned towards the outside of the courtyard. At this sight, everyone saw a girl about 21 or 22 years old, dressed in white with a graceful figure, a red mark on her forehead, and an exceptionally beautiful face walking in slowly. This girl had a face of utmost purity, moving gracefully, like a celestial maiden walking on waves, yet her aura bore an enchanting and alluring quality. The girl's gaze swept directly towards the people in the courtyard. Upon this glance, the martial artists in the courtyard felt as if they had fallen into an illusion realm filled with blooming flowers, with flowers floating within their divine senses. In an instant, the floating flowers suddenly transformed into countless terrifying clusters of flames, as if they intended to incinerate their divine souls. The martial artists were startled. In the next moment, they felt the entire illusion realm instantly dissipate, and before them was still this extremely beautiful girl watching them. This time, not only were the present divine kings, earthly divine venerables, and heavenly divine venerables astonished, even the immortal divine venerables were all greatly surprised. They could feel that the young lady in front of them hadn't actively initiated an illusion, but they had instinctively fallen into her illusion realm. Merely falling into it instinctively nearly made them lost in the illusion. If this young lady had actively initiated the illusion, they probably wouldn't have been able to see through the terrifying illusion and would have been trapped within, suffering injuries or even death. The Nine Flames clan members indeed are impressive. Countless martial artists silently praised in their hearts. At this moment, within the crowd, Yi-chen's eyes shone bright. Yi-chen's divine soul was a blue divine soul, and he was cultivating a purple divine soul, having absorbed immense divine soul power from numerous purple-silver pearls, so he certainly would not get lost in the gaze illusion of this young lady. Nonetheless, Yi-chun did not want to stand out abruptly. When the young lady looked over, Yi-chen's divine soul was controlled to a weak state, and he also sensed this special illusion. This gave Yi-chen a deeper appreciation of the Nine Flames clan. It's said that the Nine Flames clan evolved from a kind of 9-colored sky-swallowing python, originally being 9-colored sky-swallowing python. Rumor has it that the Nine Flames clan possesses 9 innate divine abilities. Perhaps this illusion transformation is one of those innate divine abilities. But this young lady's human form looks almost identical to us humans, except for an innate red dot on her forehead. Emotionally, Yi Chen's eyes fell on the young lady. Yi Chen had an illusion that the young lady's gaze seemed to linger on him longer, albeit barely noticeable. Could it be that my hidden divine soul strength was discovered by this young lady? Yi Chen's mind was alert, and he paid more attention to this young lady. At this moment, the young lady did not take any extra actions. After surveying everyone in the yard, she spoke, "Our 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion will dispatch 1,000 pavilion members to collect herbs this time, and we will also recruit an additional 3,000 martial artists from outside to accompany us in collecting herbs. There are over 6,000 of you here, but I can only select 3,000 from among you, so I hope those not chosen won't hold a grudge. Everything is up to the young lady's discretion." The martial artists all replied politely. The young lady chuckled lightly. "Since you are not from our 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion, there's no need to call me young lady like that. My name is Kai Menger. You may address me as Kai Menger Taoist." Kai Menger? Yi Chen remembered this name. After saying the previous words, Kai Menger walked directly to the person farthest to the right. She examined this person for a few moments before moving on to the second person. When she reached the fifth person, she finally said, "You can join our herb collection recruitment team." Upon hearing Kai Menger's words, the fifth person was overjoyed. However, the first 4 were suddenly stunned. Were they disqualified just like that? Was there not even a shred of selection testing? Was it purely based on the young lady's intuition? The first 4 felt disgruntled internally. But since Kai Menger had advised not to hold a grudge if unselected, coupled with this being the 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion, these martial artists dared not act recklessly, and the 4 could only sigh. Kai Menger's selection continued. Following her finger pointing, she chose quite a few more martial artists. When Kai Menger was about to reach Yi Chen and the Fat God King Quang Meng, who had been talkative and confident earlier, Quang Meng was a little nervous. He found no discernible pattern in Kai Menger's picking. Even immortal divine venerables had been unselected, while divine kings were chosen. At this moment, Fat God King Quang Meng didn't know if he would be chosen or not. He had bragged earlier that when accompanying the 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion to gather herbs, he would take care of Yi Chen. If he were passed over, it would be disgraceful. Nevertheless, after Kai Menger looked at Quang Meng for a few moments, she nodded at him, picking him to join the herb collection recruitment team. When he heard Kai Menger confirmed him, the large rock in Quang Meng's heart finally fell. At this moment, Quang Meng watched as Kai Menger walked up to Yi Chen. Yi Chen barely defeated that heavenly divine venerable's black puppet, making him one of the weakest among our over 6,000 people. Would he be passed over by Kai Menger? Quang Meng felt concerned. At this time, Quang Meng saw that Kai Menger's beautiful eyes looked at Yi Chen, and without any hesitation, she said directly, "You also join our herb collection team." Kai Menger even went as far as to tell Yi Chen, "Perform well when the time comes. If you collect good herbs, our 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion will compensate you with corresponding purchase prices." At this moment, not only Quang Meng was stunned, but many other martial artists were also left surprised. None of the chosen martial artists previously had heard Kai Menger speak like this, just that they were selected and it ended. Why did Kai Menger specifically say a few extra words to Yi Chen? Humph, this guy really attracts the notice of female martial artists. Earlier, during the initial recruitment outside, quite a few female martial artists paid attention to him. Now, this young lady in particular seems focused on him. Can you really be that popular with female martial artists just by having a slightly better aura? Many male martial artists, especially those who were unselected, looked at Yi Chen with envy. After speaking to Yi Chen, Kai Menger continued to pick others. Under countless glances, Yi Chen felt rather upset. Yi Chun understood that it wasn't as the other martial artists speculated. This young lady paid attention to him because of his aura or human race identity. Yi Chun was certain that this young lady must have discovered something from him. As Yi Chun pondered whether the young lady harbored any malice towards him, he suddenly heard a voice in his ear. "There's no need to worry, big brother. My sister harbors no ill intentions towards you. But, big brother, how can you possess an extreme heavenly-level flame when you're just a divine king?" Boom! This unexpected voice startled Yi Chun. Yi Chun noticed no one else had heard this voice. Following the direction of the voice, Yi Chun saw an 11 or 12-year-old girl outside the courtyard, blinking her large eyes curiously at him. This little girl seemed tiny and cute, yet even the disembodied senses of immortal divine venerables present did not detect her. "Big brother, my name is Kai Shower. I have some matters to attend to, but I'll come to chat with you properly in a few days." The young girl, seeing Yi Chun had noticed her, smiled and winked playfully at him, and with a flicker, her figure disappeared without a trace. Chapter 958. Beating Up. Seeing the little girl vanish without a trace, Yi Chun's heart was utterly shaken to the core. This little girl actually discovered the polar heaven-grade flame he had hidden on his body. What was even more terrifying was that, even after she appeared, not even the immortal divine venerable present noticed her. "Kai Shower?" She called Kai Menger's sister. Could it be that she's Kai Menger's younger sister? This little girl looks only 11 or 12 years old, and her realm is merely at the Nine Tribulations True God realm, not even at the God King realm. Yet why does she give me an even stranger feeling than Kai Menger? Yi Chun raised his head to glance at Kai Menger, but it seemed she too hadn't noticed Kai Shower's earlier arrival, nor had she realized that Kai Shower had spoken to him. At the moment, Kai Menger was still selecting recruits. Seeing this, Yi Chun made a deep note of that little girl in his heart. Kai Shower said she has other matters for now? That she'd come looking for me in a few days. Fine, in a few days. Let's see exactly what she wants from me. As Yi Chun was contemplating this, a voice from Xiaojiu, housed within the ice-snow jade pendant on his body, rang out. "Yi Chun, that little girl just now was quite peculiar. She seemed to possess a divine skill far beyond her realm, something that didn't even seem to originate from the Nine Flames clan." Upon hearing Xiaojiu's words, Yi Chun's mind stirred, and he transmitted his thoughts back to Xiaojiu. "Xiaojiu, you woke up from your cultivation? Have you heard of this little girl's divine skill before?" Ever since Yi Chun had handed over the purple silver pearl and the primordial gold divine flower to Xiaojiu and the little monkey, the two had been immersed in cultivation. Yi Chun hadn't anticipated that the arrival of this little girl would awaken Xiaojiu. "I only woke up when she was speaking to you and sensed a peculiar fluctuation," Xiaojiu explained. "As for her strange divine skill, I've never heard of it, but I can tell. It's absolutely extraordinary. Moreover, I have a sense, a gut feeling, Yi Chun, that this little girl harbors no ill intentions toward you. On the contrary, she seems inexplicably drawn to you. Maybe, when she comes to find you again, the reasons will become clear." Yi Chun nodded. He too felt that the little girl had no malice toward him. In fact, it seemed she had much she wanted to say to him. "Xiaojiu, continue cultivating. For now, let's wait and see what happens when Kai Shower comes looking for me again." At this moment, Yi Chun couldn't help but feel a strange anticipation toward their next encounter with Kai Shower. The 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion's recruitment of accompanying martial artists was still ongoing. After spending the time it takes for about half a cup of tea, Kai Menger finally chose the last martial artist. Not one more nor one less. Coupled with the ones she'd previously selected, a total of 3,000 recruits were chosen. First, Kai Menger cupped her fists and offered heartfelt apologies to the martial artists who weren't selected, instructing Steward Huang to escort these people out of the medicine pavilion. Then, Kai Menger turned to the remaining 3,000 recruits, including Yi Chun, and announced, "You 3,000 will serve as the extra personnel recruited for accompanying us on this expedition to gather spiritual medicines." Yi Chun was calm at the moment. However, many of the martial artists couldn't help but breathe a long sigh of relief. their faces lighting up with joy. Kai Menger continued, I chose you because I sensed that you either possess great strength or have exceptional divine skills uniquely suited for gathering spiritual medicines. Our Nine Flames clan, especially the martial artists of the 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion, are rarely mistaken in such judgments. As she spoke, a gentle smile graced Kai Menger's face. The other martial artists suddenly had a realization. It turns out this was the reason Kai Menger had chosen them. At this moment, Kai Menger continued, since you've all opted to participate in our Medicine Pavilion's recruitment for accompanying martial artists, you should already be familiar with the rules of our spiritual medicine gathering expeditions. Still, I will reiterate them. Our Medicine Pavilion's permanent members are the main force in gathering medicines. You extra recruits are merely supplementary, meant to help gather some additional spiritual medicines. As such, the constraints on you will be minimal from our side. For this expedition, all you'll need to do is gather 3 stalks of lower-grade mystic heavenly-level spiritual medicines to meet the basic requirement. Afterward, you are free to leave our team if you wish. Even if you fail to meet the quota of 3 lower-grade mystic heavenly-level spiritual medicines but still wish to leave, you simply need to pay a small fee, and you can depart freely. After all, bringing you along to faraway places requires significant effort on our part, so certain conditions are necessary. I hope everyone understands this. All 3,000 recruited martial artists nodded in agreement, expressing their understanding. Indeed, the Medicine Pavilion would expend effort and resources to bring them along. Only requiring them to hand in 3 lower-grade mystic heavenly-level spiritual medicines was a very lenient condition. Most of them had chosen to accompany the Medicine Pavilion precisely for its protection and the lucrative rewards of medicine gathering. Yi-chun silently nodded in his heart. Providing 3 lower-grade mystic heavenly-level spiritual medicines posed no difficulty for him whatsoever. Even if he couldn't find suitable materials, offering a small portion of the purple silver pearl would easily enable him to leave the Medicine Pavilion team smoothly. To follow them all the way to the 9 Lotus Holy Mountain, this minor expenditure was well worth it. Kai Menger continued, of course, following us to gather spiritual medicines won't leave you at a disadvantage. In addition to the basic requirement of 3 lower-grade mystic heavenly-level spiritual medicines, any extra or higher-grade spiritual medicines you wish to sell will be purchased by us at market price. If you prefer to keep them for yourselves, we will not force you to give them up. Kai Menger's words garnered praise from the martial artists. Many of them had joined the Medicine Pavilion's recruitment because of this rule. The pavilion only required 3 basic spiritual medicines, and any additional ones would be bought at market value, offering great prospects for profit. This setup promised mutual benefit. They could reap substantial rewards, while the Medicine Pavilion could acquire rare spiritual medicines. A win-win scenario. Several martial artists were already looking forward to showcasing their skills in the 8 major medicine gathering zones. That's all I have to say for now, Kai Menger concluded. Our expedition will commence tomorrow morning at dawn. Gather outside the 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion at that time. Steward Huang, distribute the tokens for accompanying members. Yes, young lady, Steward Huang replied, taking out 3,000 tokens inscribed with 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion and handing them to everyone. Afterward, Steward Huang escorted Yi-chun and the 3,000 recruits out of the pavilion. Once Yi-chun and the others departed, Kai Menger watched their retreating figures, murmuring to herself, whenever we embark on medicine-gathering expeditions, the core efforts always lie with our pavilion members. These recruited martial artists are chiefly supplementary, meant to contribute some extra medicines. Yet this time, among the recruits, there's an unbelievably powerful individual. That God King, despite appearing to be about my age, gives me an incomparably dangerous feeling. It's as if my combat power, capable of rivaling an upper immortal divine venerable, pales utterly before him. If he wanted to kill me, it would be effortless. Even among the recruited martial artists, those few upper immortal divine venerables didn't give me such a sense of danger. Could it be that his strength surpasses those upper immortal divine venerables? As she pondered this, A trace of surprise surfaced on Kai Menger's flawless face. The figure filling her thoughts was none other than Yi Chun. I wonder why such a powerful god king would hide his strength and join our pavilion's expedition team. Could he be targeting our pavilion? No, that's unlikely, especially since we'll have a sovereign attending this expedition. Could it be that he simply wants to leverage our pavilion's operations to reach other regions smoothly? Kai Menger's mind was riddled with questions. Finally, she shook her head and muttered, "Forget it. As long as he behaves according to our guidelines, it doesn't matter." This expedition's centerpiece is that one heavenly pond Divine Lotus on 9 Lotus Holy Mountain. The restriction on the mountain only allows those below the sovereign realm to enter. Careful planning will be needed. Lost in thought, Kai Menger turned and walked back toward her bedroom in the medicine pavilion. Outside the pavilion, once Steward Huang had sent out the 3,000 recruits. They scattered immediately. The fat god king Kwang Meng, standing beside Yi Chun, spoke, "Yi Chun, I need to return and inform the seniors of our Chi Yu Divine Nation about my selection as a recruit for the medicine pavilion. We'll meet again tomorrow. But don't worry. I promised we'd collaborate, and I meant it. I'll keep an eye on you during the expedition." Kwang Meng's words prompted a helpless smile from Yi Chun. This god king, someone like him who had traveled from a different divine nation to the true spirit divine kingdom, was genuinely warm-hearted. "All right, Kwang Meng. See you tomorrow then." After parting ways with Kwang Meng, Yi Chun wandered the streets of Haoyan Divine City, the capital of the true spirit divine kingdom. Since arriving at the true spirit divine kingdom, Yi Chun had spent several days in Haoyan Divine City. Knowing he was soon leaving the city for the extreme spirit sea, Yi Chun wasn't sure if he'd ever return here. Thus, he strolled idly, hoping to take in the sights and appreciate the city properly. As he continued wandering, Yi Chun smiled faintly to himself. Those guys following me. They were participants in the recruitment process who didn't get selected, just like me. They've been trailing me all this time, thinking I wouldn't notice? Looks like they're jealous that I was chosen by Kai Menger, while they weren't. Yi Chen's expression remained unperturbed as he kept walking. After a dozen or so breaths, Yi Chun suddenly felt the entire world quiet down. It was as if the surrounding void had been sealed entirely. Before long, 4 martial artists from the true spirit divine kingdom appeared in front of him. They cracked their knuckles and sneered, moving threateningly toward Yi Chun. "Human brat, huh? Looks like your pretty face is quite popular with the female martial artists. Kai Menger actually chose you. A mere martial artist who barely defeated the black puppet and didn't pick us. Well, we brothers are going to see what you look like after we mess up that handsome face of yours. Let's see if you'll still be so charming afterward." Chapter 959. Dark Swamp Stars. These 4 true spirit divine kingdom martial artists were all of the upper heavenly divine venerate realm. They were extremely rugged in appearance, each towering several zhang in height, with muscles rippling like coiled dragons. Their foreheads were marked with lion-shaped patterns, and in addition to the usual 2 eyes, a golden eye rested in the middle of their brows. Their hair was a chaotic mess. Yi Chun recalled that during the initial recruitment selection, someone seemed to have mentioned that these 4 were from the race of 3-eyed divine lions, a clan of true spirit sacred beasts. Trouble has really come knocking, huh? Yi Chun sighed inwardly. These 4 individuals from the 3-eyed divine lion race had commented that he looked handsome, leaving Yi Chun at a loss for words. Among human martial artists, Yi Chun could be described as an extraordinary youth of outstanding temperament and elegant bearing, traits that were hardly connected to the descriptor of delicate. However, comparing his refined presence against the ruggedness of the 4 3-eyed divine lions, it could perhaps grudgingly be said that he looked handsome. A beating for me? This time, it seems I can't keep a low profile even if I wanted to. Yi Chun naturally wouldn't allow the likes of 4 mere heavenly divine venerates to bully him without retaliation. Yi Chun glanced around the void, noticing that the 4 had set up a screen barrier array. It was evident they wanted to keep their bullying under wraps. "No one will see, huh? That suits me just fine." Without making a single move, Yi-chan observed a sight that went unnoticed by the 4 three-eyed divine lions. Outside the screen barrier array they had erected, another screen barrier array, tens of times stronger, had silently materialized. The entire region where Yi-chan and the 4 three-eyed divine lions were standing was now enveloped by a mysterious spatial force, forming an isolated special space. At this moment, seeing Yi-chan surveying his surroundings, the 4 three-eyed divine lions sneered at him. "Human Junior God King, stop looking around. Just behave and accept your beating. Even if you scream your lungs out, no one will hear you." Boom! 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 As they spoke, the 4 began cracking their knuckles and smirking coldly as they closed in on Yi-chan. One of them spoke first, stepping forward. "I'll take the first shot. You 3 can go after me." Humph. After being disqualified for no reason by the 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion, I've been holding in a lot of anger. It's time to vent it out properly. The other 3, seeing this one take the initiative, shook their heads resignedly. "How long? Sure, you go first. Just be careful not to kill this little human outright. We need to blow off some steam too. Besides, we don't bear any real grudge against him. Just a bit of a lesson will suffice." Hearing this, Pao Long chuckled and said, "Don't worry, I'll only rough up his face. I promise I won't kill him." The 4 three-eyed divine lions were engaged in animated discussion when suddenly, Yi-chen's voice interrupted them. "You all are quite amusing. All right, since you ambushed me, I was tempted to wipe you out entirely. But since you don't harbor murderous intent and only wish to rough me up, I suppose I'll return the favor and rough you up instead." Yi-chen's calm and indifferent tone immediately made the 4, especially Pao Long, freeze in confusion. Then, all 4 burst into raucous laughter. This little human. Could it be that being chosen by Kai Menger has driven him mad with excitement? He struggled even to defeat a mid-tier Heavenly Divine Venerate level black puppet after a prolonged fight. And now he thinks he can rough up all 4 of us upper Heavenly Divine Venerates? Pao Long took a few steps closer to Yi-chan and said mockingly, Come, little human Junior God King. Let's see how you'll rough me up." Yi-chan smiled faintly. "Such a reasonable request. As you wish, then. Watch closely." Boom! With that faint smile, Yi-chan casually extended his hand toward Pao Long. To the shock of Pao Long and the other 3 three-eyed divine lions, something astonishing happened. The figure of Pao Long, like a towering giant, was sent flying backward by the casual grasp of the seemingly inconsequential Junior God King. With a loud bang, Pao Long found himself grabbed in midair by Yi-chan, as if plucked out of the void. Pao Long struggled wildly, only to discover, to his horror, that he couldn't escape Yi-chen's grasp in the slightest. The binding force emanating from this Junior God King before him was even mightier than what he had experienced from lower immortal divine venerates. Heavens! Could it be? His power exceeds mid-tier Heavenly Divine Venerate combat strength. As this unthinkable thought flashed through Pao Long's mind, he saw Yi-chen's fist shadows growing larger as they smashed toward him. In despair, Pao Long heard Yi-chen's voice ring out, "I, too, am curious. What does a three-eyed divine lion look like after being beaten black and blue?" Bam! 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 The fierce impact of Yi-chen's fists landed squarely on Pao Long's lion-patterned face. In mere moments, Pao Long's once fearsome visage swelled up grotesquely under the barrage. After a few breaths' time, even the other 3 three-eyed divine lions could no longer recognize Pao Long. He resembled nothing more than an inflated lion head. Boom! Only after pummeling Pao Long mercilessly with dozens of punches, leaving his face unrecognizable, did Yi-chan casually toss him to the ground. Hearing the thud of Pao Long's massive body hitting the earth, and seeing Yi-chen's gentle, smiling gaze turn toward them, the remaining 3 three-eyed divine lions felt a chill run down their spines. At that moment they understood clearly. The human youth before them was an existence they should never have provoked. Luckily for them, this person had not chosen to end their lives outright. Otherwise, they would surely be dead by now. He's concealing his strength. Earlier, when he fought the black puppet, he wasn't even giving it his all. Heavens! We've bitten off more than we can chew. Panic-stricken, the three-eyed divine lions no longer dared to face off against Yi Chun. Instead, they scrambled toward the void, desperate to escape. But just then, they felt a powerful barrier rise up in the void, slamming them back down to the ground with great force. He set up a screen barrier array too. Thrown to the earth by the massive repelling force of the screen barrier array, the three-eyed divine lions transformed in their panic. Each turned into a massive divine lion, spanning several dozen zhang in length and radiating brilliant divine light as they stared at Yi Chun with mortal terror. Yi Chun, observing these three transformed true spirit sacred beast, three-eyed divine lions, chuckled and said, "Relax. I'll merely rough you up a bit. It's no use screaming. No one will hear you." Bam! 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 With a casual sweep of his hand, the three massive divine lions were lifted into the air. Thereafter, a relentless storm of fist shadows rained down on their faces. The confined void echoed with their piercing cries of anguish. Feeling their swollen faces expand further with each blow, the three-eyed divine lions were filled with utter frustration. The humiliation was unimaginable. They had intended to disfigure Yi Chun, only to find their own appearances utterly ravaged by his strikes. Though they were heavenly divine venerates, the sheer violent strength of Yi Chun's punches ensured their injuries would require several days to heal. Such a long recovery was an irrecoverable loss of face, and they had taunted earlier that not even screaming at the top of his lungs would help Yi Chun. Ironically, the tables had turned. They were now the ones beaten senseless, their cries falling on deaf ears in the sealed space. At this moment, all three hoped to end the beating quickly, as Pao Long had before them. Thankfully, they got their wish. Boom! 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 After another dozen or so breaths, the three-eyed divine lions were left as unrecognizable as Pao Long, their bruised and swollen faces slumping lifelessly to the ground alongside him. Human martial artist, with such power, why conceal your strength? Sprawled on the ground in agony, the three-eyed divine lions couldn't resist asking Yi Chun as they saw him turn to leave. Even their voices were now slurred and unclear. Yi Chun glanced at them and replied with a wry smile, "I merely wanted to keep a low profile. Who knew you four would come looking for me? Remember, don't let anyone else know about me roughing you up. Otherwise, I might pay you another visit." With that, Yi Chun dismantled his screen barrier array and left leisurely. Only after Yi Chun had vanished did the four battered, three-eyed divine lions struggle to their feet with anguished groans. Low profile? Heavens! Human martial artists are truly devious. The minor skirmish with the three-eyed divine lions was but an interlude. After teaching them a lesson, Yi Chun continued to wander around Haoyan Divine City. A single day flashed by like the snap of a finger. Exploring part of Haoyan Divine City he hadn't visited yet, Yi Chun eventually returned to the 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion, just in time for the mission to gather spirit medicines in the 8 great regions. At his current level, Yi Chun could go without rest for an entire day without feeling the slightest bit of fatigue. He remained energetic and radiant. By now, the other recruited martial artists had also convened outside the 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion. Seeing Yi Chun approaching, Fat God King Kwang Meng waved enthusiastically at him and pulled him closer. As the group chatted, Kai Menger emerged from the 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion, leading their team of spirit herb gatherers. Yi Chun noticed the little girl Kai Shower, who had appeared before in a mysterious manner and exchanged a few words with him, holding Kai Menger's hand and walking beside her. When she saw Yi Chun looking over, Kai Shower blinked her bright eyes and smiled sweetly, nodding at him. Yi Chun also observed that the 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion had dispatched 5 sovereigns to oversee the operation. Among them were 3 4-star sovereigns and 2 7-star sovereigns. Such a lineup for a mere herbal collection mission demonstrated to Yi Chun once more the formidable power of the 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion. Seeing 3,000 recruited martial artists waiting outside, Kai Menger nodded slightly in acknowledgement. Then, a 7-star sovereign beside her waved his arm, summoning a mystical ultimate heavenly artifact flying boat into the void. Kai Menger's voice resonated in everyone's ears. The annual Spirit Herb Gathering Expedition of the 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion officially begins. Now we set forth for the first gathering region, the Dark Swamp Stars. Chapter 960-. Arrival. After Kai Menger finished speaking, she led Kai Shower, the 5 sovereigns, and the martial artists of the 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion toward the polar heaven-grade flying boat. Whiz, whiz, whiz. The recruited martial artists who were not part of the Medicine Pavilion also flew toward the polar heaven-grade flying boat suspended in the void. Amidst the crowd in motion, Yi Chun gazed at the polar heaven-grade flying boat driven by the 7-star sovereign in the void, his eyes glimmering brightly. Polar heaven-grade divine artifact. This was Yi Chen's first time encountering a completely intact polar heaven-grade divine artifact. Although Yi Chun also carried polar heaven-grade divine artifacts, those were damaged ones obtained from the cave dwelling of Sovereign Lei Fa. Yi Chun also possessed the extreme heavenly object, Blue Extreme Ice Flame, but the Blue Extreme Ice Flame had not truly been refined into a polar heaven-grade divine artifact. At this moment, as he looked at the intact polar heaven-grade flying boat, Yi Chun genuinely felt the sheer power of the artifact. This was the most extraordinary flying boat Yi Chun had ever laid eyes on. It was countless times more beautiful and magnificent than the heaven-reaching flying boat he had acquired before. From the outside, the entire vessel shimmered with a silver-white hue, emanating radiant divine light. Although it appeared to be no more than a few dozen meters in size, upon entering, it revealed itself as a vast realm for cultivation. The divine power inside was exponentially more concentrated than the world outside. What awed Yi Chun the most were the countless carved divine patterns on the hull of the flying boat. These divine patterns were spread across the vessel, forming numerous arrays, each possessing its own unique divine might, yet intricately interconnected to form a complete grand formation of divine power. The array formations inscribed on this flying boat far surpassed the formations described in Yi Chen's 9 volumes of Formation Array Manual. Yi Chen instinctively felt that no matter how he attacked, he wouldn't be able to break through the flying boat's defenses. The vessel was definitely fortified with sovereign-level defenses and even concealed sovereign-level offensive capabilities. The polar heaven-grade flying boat is truly the best means of transportation. I only possess a heaven-reaching flying boat. It seems I must find a way to obtain a higher-grade flying boat. If I had a polar heaven-grade flying boat, traveling to the extreme spirit sea would be much more convenient. As Yi Chun stared at the polar heaven-grade flying boat, he couldn't help but sigh internally. Once inside the flying boat's inner space, Yi Chun discovered that he could easily see everything outside. The external scenery was reflected clearly upon the flying boat's spatial light screen. Yi Chun, along with the 3,000 recruited martial artists, was arranged on one side of the flying boat. The martial artists from the 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion occupied the other side. The two groups of people did not interfere with each other. Once everyone had settled in, the polar heaven-grade flying boat finally departed from the capital city Haotian Divine City of the True Spirit Divine Kingdom, heading toward the Boundless Star Domain and advancing toward their first gathering zone, the Dark Swamp Stars. At this moment, the previously talkative fat god king, Kwang Meng, who sat beside Yi Chun among the recruited martial artists, had fallen silent. Everyone was now focused on the external starry scenery displayed on the flying boat's internal light screen. The vastness of the star domain and the infinity of the star sea were mesmerizing. As they watched the flying boat cutting swiftly and silently through the pitch-black and tranquil cosmos, crossing one stretch of space after another, leaving behind one star continent after another and heading toward new ones, everyone was captivated by the mystery of the starry sky. Yi Chun, too, gazed at the outer cosmos, his mind and spirit surging with emotion. His vision swept over countless stars and multiple star continents. Some star continents were lifeless, mere dead stars with no trace of inhabitants. On other star continents, as the flying boat passed by, Yi-chun could distinctly sense signs of life. Yi-chun also saw many unique stars. There were stars spewing endless flames, and others entirely cloaked in snow. Yi-chun whispered to himself, "These are just stars within the star domain of the true spirit divine kingdom. Yet there are already so many. I truly wonder how vast the entirety of the cosmos must be, and what the indescribable expanse of the cosmic sea might look like." The flying boat propelled itself forward with unparalleled speed, gliding along in utter silence. Clearly, the sovereign from the 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion, piloting the flying boat, had been to the dark swamp stars before, as the route was expertly familiar, avoiding any dangers and steering clear of potential threats to the vessel. According to the True Spirit Atlas provided by the 8 sovereigns, there are indeed several perilous zones between Haotian Divine City and the dark swamp stars. It seems this sovereign maneuvering the flying boat deliberately bypassed those hazardous areas. Yi-chun estimated the flying boat's pace, finding it to be dozens of times faster than his own flight capabilities. At this speed, it would likely only take 3 to 4 days to reach the dark swamp stars. If I were traveling solo, it might take months, and even then, I wouldn't be guaranteed a safe arrival. Joining the 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion for this expedition was definitely the right choice. After observing the outside for a while, Yi-chun shifted his focus back to the interior of the flying boat. Yi-chun noticed that the area occupied by the 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion martial artists was shrouded in divine light, making it impossible for his divine sense to probe into their situation. He didn't see Kai Shower coming over to seek him either. That little girl had mentioned she had matters to attend to and would talk to him in a few days, but it seemed those matters had not yet been concluded. In the end, after familiarizing himself with the flying boat's interior and exterior, Yi-chun closed his eyes and began internal cultivation within the flying boat. When Yi-chun finished his cultivation and reopened his eyes, more than 3 days had passed. By now, the flying boat was finally approaching its destination, the dark swamp stars. All the passengers inside the flying boat saw that, up ahead, a massive black star was suspended in the starry sky. From a distance, the star didn't seem enormous. Yet the closer they flew, the more its immense scale became apparent. When the flying boat officially hovered above the star, it revealed an incomprehensibly vast continent that stretched farther than the star continent hosting Haotian Divine City of the True Spirit Divine Kingdom. Whiz, 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 as everyone looked down at the dark swamp stars. Kai Menger led the martial artists of the 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion toward the 3,000 recruited martial artists. Yi-chun noticed the presence of 5 sovereigns among them, but Kai Shower was absent. What exactly was that little girl up to? Once Kai Menger approached the crowd, she immediately announced, "We've arrived at the dark swamp stars. Next, we must descend and start gathering medicinal herbs. Before we begin, I will share the classifications of our 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion, Divine Medicine, and inform you of the probable divine medicines we may find on this star." Swish! With a wave of Kai Menger's hand, a massive list materialized in the void beside her. Yi-chun saw that the 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion categorized divine medicine into 4 major levels: Polar Heaven Grade, Mystic Heavenly Grade, Heaven Reaching Grade, and True God Grade, with each level further divided into 4 ranks: Supreme, High, Middle, and Low. Any herbs below the True God Grade were clearly excluded from the scope of this gathering. Aside from these classifications, Yi-chun also noticed the numerous divine medicines listed on the enormous chart. Polar Heaven Grade Supreme Divine Medicine, Heavenly Purity Spirit Pearl. Polar Heaven Grade Supreme Divine Medicine, 9-Colored Lotus Seed. Polar Heaven Grade Supreme Divine Medicine, Earth God's Root. Among the divine medicines, those likely to be found on the dark swamp stars were highlighted with special divine light. Polar Heaven Grade Supreme Divine Medicine, Polar 5 Mystic Fruit. Polar Heaven Grade Supreme Divine Medicine, Dark Origin Water. Polar Heaven Grade Supreme Divine Medicine, flawless precious moss. As Yi Chun recognized a number of these divine medicines, he felt his mind and spirit shaken. Many of them were recorded in the Skywind medical scripture he had retrieved from the Heavenly Wind Cave earlier. Yi Chun hadn't expected 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion to have gathered so much information on medicinal herbs. What astonished Yi Chun most, however, was realizing that this dark swamp stars harbored 6 medicinal herbs he personally needed. Among these, some were polar heaven-grade divine medicines, and others were mystic heavenly-grade divine medicines, all necessary for honing the water god pattern of his eternal god body's 5 great divine patterns. I've already found all the resources necessary to cultivate the earth god pattern and wind god pattern, and successfully mastered both patterns. To think that this place contains the materials required for the water god pattern, that polar heaven-grade supreme divine medicine, dark origin water, is one of the 18 main materials for cultivating the water god pattern, and it's an especially vital component that I lack, along with floating pearl fruit and 5 other materials. It seems this trip to the dark swamp stars won't just facilitate my journey to the extreme spirit sea, but also enable me to gather crucial resources. At this moment, Yi Chun was filled with vigor and motivation. After displaying the medicinal information, Kai Menger addressed the crowd with instructions. The central region of the dark swamp stars is a vast dead zone, incapable of sustaining any medicinal herbs. Through our previous explorations, we've determined that the viable areas for herb growth are located at this star's polar regions. For this operation, the martial artists of the 10,000 Spirits Medicine Pavilion will search for divine medicines in the southern polar region, while the recruited martial artists will be responsible for the northern polar region. The search will last a total of 7 days. After 7 days, the flying boat will traverse both zones to retrieve everyone back to the vessel. Kai Menger also issued a warning to everyone. The dark swamp stars differ greatly from other stars. Peculiar phenomena abound here. Once you enter the continent, both your divine sense and divine power will be significantly weakened. Additionally, hidden dangers lurk on this star, especially the presence of dark ancient demons dwelling underground. Exercise extreme caution when searching for medicinal herbs in the dark swamp.